We're here, folks. We are live. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. The final Grin Grappler of 2025, and we are taking it head to head with Monday Night Raw, much like our hero Eric Bischoff once did. We are locked in. We are ready to go. We actually genuinely penciled this in, I think, in like July or August, somewhere around there. We were going to spend our holidays with Hack, and man, this lineup, boy, did we spend some time with him. Not a lot of time, but a good time nonetheless.
A good time, yeah.
Yes, we have a lot to talk about. Expert panel as always. We have a little treat along the way, a little cameo in more ways than one. But firstly, the Oracle of Wrestling, how are you?
I'm good. I'm here to discuss. I believe this is our fourth holiday special of Grin Grappler. We typically do a sort of a somewhat of a special edition for the Grappler every December, and our friend Hack has won the lottery for that. I believe we did. I believe we did Goldberg, the Von Erichs, and I can't remember who else.
Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman. Yeah, there we go. Yep. Those were the previous Christmas holiday Grin winners, and this year's Hack. I'm very excited to talk about him. I won't lie, I was very pleased when I came home and it was 10 degrees outside. I had groceries and all this other stuff I had to get done before, and it took me like an hour to watch these matches. It was wonderful.
Yeah, legitimately, yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm here and ready to go.
I do love that those other ones you mentioned, like, it's a conceptual thing, right? Like, this is a different episode because it's a manager or a family or it's 12 matches, right? There's no catch with Hack. It's just we're doing the Sandman. That's why it's a holiday special. There's no other, no bells or whistles. It's the Sandman. That's the holiday special. Merry Christmas, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good to be here. Yeah, this has been in the can, I think, since the summer, like you said. So a lot of time to look forward to it, get ready for it. It's a holiday show, so I have my hat on once again, representing the big man. Yeah, fired up, man.
More big man talk from Bobby Oracle. You hearing this? More big man.
Oh
talk.
Yeah.
He's locked in. He's ready to go. He's feeling festive. Contrarian Alex, how are you?
Good. I was gonna, I'm nothing if not vain. I was gonna wear one of my Santa hats, but if I do say so myself, I'm having quite a fabulous hair day, so I just wanted to show it off on the stream. But certainly not the last time I'm going to say this on the stream. But it's good to be here to discuss the strange case of one Jim Fullington and the career that the Sandman has had. And man, I didn't even think about it, but yeah, just mentioned the Von Erichs. Boy, there's some universe where we got a Kevin Von Erich versus Sandman match, and that would have been quite something to behold. Yeah, man, this is, like you said, we've joked about it. I'm pretty sure we conceptualized this when we put together the Sabu episode, because we were like, we wanted to do the Stairway to Hell, but like, wait, let's just save that for like a Sandman episode. And then we're like, yeah, we should do a Sandman episode. And yeah, I anticipate, I don't think we're going to go as in depth with these matches as some of our other subject du jours, but I'm anticipating a very good time on this episode.
Yeah, it feels, ironically, considering the brutality on display at times inside, it feels like a pretty light, breezy way for us, at least, to close out the year, right? It's pretty, as Oracle said, the runtime on the matches, I mean, it's just tremendous, wasn't it? I mean, it was just, there are many a holiday special that are longer than just this mere lineup. So, tremendous stuff. Before we get rolling here, our friend Riley, one of the great grinners, sent a super chat, and this is a spectacular question. He says, the most wonderful time of the month, Alex, what would a match with November to Remember 97 Sandman versus Rumble 2022 Shane McMahon look like? Star rating, please. That's a great question.
I mean, we're dealing with like a 4 1/4 floor, I think, on a match like that. But can you imagine? I was trying to think about, they had to have, like, during Hack's run with the Fed, there had to be like a time where Shane and him went out drinking together. I would think, because I don't think Shane was quite on the outs yet. But anyway, there would be some point in it where Shane would get mad because Hack's just running all over the place, and Shane would have to grab a hold, I think.
Shane would be jabbing a lot, I think.
Yeah, he'd put his Phil Nurse shoot training to the test against Sandman.
It's an interesting one. Sandman is probably now the new 1 seed in terms of wrestlers that would make for the most interesting opponents to our prior Grin Grappler entries, I think. If you just sort of went through them all, it would be quite the line. I mean, imagine a Nokian Sandman.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. Somebody said for it. But tremendous stuff. We know a lot about the state of the Sandman at that November to Remember 97 match. We have yet to get the same clarity regarding Shane McMahon at the Rumble in 2022, but we can have some guesses. Thank you, Riley, very much. And speaking of that very match, we are going to be recording tonight a little bonus action for our Gold members, for all members of that. We're going to be recording a little grin along for Sandman and Sabu, November to Remember, the infamous match. We're going to be recording that afterwards for probably going to post that on Christmas Day, even a real stocking stuffer right there. And we're going to pair it with a Kevin Nash match to boot, just to, what a time to be a grinner, Bobby, you know?
It is. It's always a good time, but this is a particularly good time around the holidays, you know?
Most certainly. Sandman versus Yokozuna. My God. All right. So,
brother.
Before we get rolling here, my friend Bob does have a message for you all. If you're particularly excited and optimistic about this program, Bob, isn't that right?
Yeah, you go ahead and smash that like button. First time, odd numbers. We're good. We're working on something for the new year to kind of streamline that a little bit, so stay tuned.
We certainly are. Thank you, Bobby. And as I said, we do have a little treat here via our friend Contrarian Alex, which we'll get to in mere moments. But first, we'll set the stage as we always do. Our fandom when it comes to the Sandman. The Oracle of Wrestling, I'll start with you. Where does your Sandman fandom start, if it exists? Please take it away.
My Sandman fandom probably just starts with I don't know, maybe just the ECW Rise and Fall DVD, because I watched a little bit of ECW in 2000 at the time, but it was only on occasion with Dad whenever he'd have it on. And I don't really remember Sandman from that period. He didn't really stick out to me. I think it might have been like a few years later with the Rise and Fall, and then also like the TNA stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the AJ match that we'll talk about, I remember watching his TNA appearances and whatnot. But it really wasn't until the DVD and years after the fact that I kind of learned about the sort of lore of Sandman and all that stuff. Obviously, you know, his entrance at the original One Night Stand is an all-timer. Yes. I remember watching that show at my uncle's and losing my mind for that. Definitely became more of a fan of his when I watched some Best of ECW stuff many years back. Incredibly entertaining wrestler. But best of all, I've met the Sandman.
My God.
I was going to ask, were you part of that crew at the Denny's or whatever?
I was there before that crew arrived.
Okay.
So at the Denny's, because Sandman was there for hours. God knows how long he was there for. I arrived at the Denny's probably at about 11 o'clock that evening. And Sandman was there. RVD was there in a suit, eating by himself, by the way. Hack wasn't even sitting with him. Well, no, Hack was sitting with him briefly for a minute and then just was wandering around. Marty Jannetty was there.
Yeah.
And so Sandman was, for some reason, noticed that all the fans that were there were not, like, the Denny's just was not, they were understaffed. So Hack decided to take it upon himself to wander into the kitchen of this Denny's and ask why these people aren't being served their food.
Hmm.
And
People's champ.
yeah, exactly. And he was shooting the shit with all the fans and giving the Denny staff a really hard time, and I'm sure the Denny staff was really appreciative of it. I left after my meal, which did take quite a long time.
No, you're describing this as a crime scene now, Oracle.
Well,
you get a slam? Did you get Oracle? Get a slam?
Before I did leave, Marty Jannetty was harassing us, trying to get us to go to some
No way.
Show the next day.
Yeah.
He looked like hell that whole weekend, man.
Always the ones you least expect.
There was another crew that Alex has referenced, are friends of ours who spent several hours seemingly with Hack at a Denny's counter or booth, rather, and many stories were told and shared.
There is that picture that one of them took where Hack's like lifting his shirt up to show his hernia scar, and he's just like, yeah, he's
so yeah. But with all that said, at this point, yes, I am a big Hack fan. I enjoy him greatly. I think there was something to him, even behind all of the inebriation. I think he probably could have been a decent undercard guy, but
yeah.
But that wasn't the Sandman.
No.
The Sandman was the drunk guy who looked like a fucking Florida man, and it kind of fucking ruled. So
yeah,
that's who he was. But yeah, I would safely say I'm a fan.
Yeah, I am too. You said it, and it's kind of so cliche, and it feels boring. But any wrestling fan that's in deep enough to watching this bullshit will know and will get it when we all say, like, One Night Stand 05, his entrance is like it's like a key moment you have to watch as a wrestling fan. Like, it's just, there's no way you could be in deep enough to care about like a wrestling podcast without having seen the One Night Stand entrance. You may never have seen the match, which we have recently discussed is actually quietly fucking awesome, and no one remembers that. But you would have seen the entrance. Even if you've not seen anything else on the show, you've seen that entrance. And so that is a good starting point for a lot of younger fans when it's like, that's the Sandman. I think the Sandman's awesome. I don't know if I like any of his matches. I don't really care to, quite frankly. I mean, I just don't see the reason for it. There's a bunch of other wrestlers that I can enjoy the matches of. Why bother?
It's Kevin Nash on Mongo. Maybe not the best wrestler. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, he's the Sandman, isn't he? I mean, it's just he always had a full awareness of, and I know he is consistently stressed, and I agree with him that he was capable of being more, as Oracle just said, in terms of mechanically and such. But that's not who the Sandman was, as you said yourself. So the best way I can kind of encapsulate the Sandman and why I'm a fan without having really any reason to be one, beyond him being awesome. Mama Holbert loves those Dark Side of the Ring programs. She just loves them. This is the most Hack thing imaginable. They did a Hack Dark Side. I don't know what they expected that documentary to be, but Mama Holbert just watched it and he seems like a swell guy, really. I liked the Sandman. I said, yeah, so he's good, isn't he? There was no real... I mean, some of the content could have been the Dark Side of the Ring, but in his hands, it wasn't all. You kind of just went, oh, Hack seems to be doing good. He had no edge, really. And I always think of that as like, that's exactly who he is. There is a... And I think detractors would push back on this, but I think we would all agree on it. There is actually a charisma to him. And it's a different charisma to what a Rock has, right? Where it's like, this guy feels bigger than life. It's the opposite with Sandman. He feels like the most ordinary guy imaginable, which is what his appeal is. He's Hack, right? He's the Sandman. So I'm absolutely a fan. If you ask me to put together a comp of my favorite matches and promos, it'd probably run 20 minutes deep. But he's the Sandman, and I fucking love the Sandman. So I'm a fan, Bobby. What about you?
Yeah, me too. It is the entrance. It's from One Night Stand 2005. That was the first time I was really made aware of him. They showed clips of it or whatever, and I don't know how. A couple days after the event, I don't know how, but someone did post like the original entrance online with Enter Sandman, and because I wasn't watching the show live, I didn't get the pay-per-views, but once I saw that, it was just like, oh, this shit rules. And the next year, he comes back and he comes in and he has, a run that actually lasts a couple of years. And, you know, none of it's great. We'll talk about one of the matches later, but like it's good enough stuff. And you know, again, it is just the entrance though, because that was just like this guy comes out and he, you know, comes through the crowd and walks along the barricade and he's got a beer and fucking kendo stick, and it's just it's awesome from the start, man. Like he shows you what he's gonna be about. He busts himself open before he even gets in the ring, and you know, again, the matches are whatever, but like the presentation and such, and there's just something about him. And then, you know, starting ECW from the start now, I've seen, you know, the Dreamer stuff. I'm coming up on the match. The first match that we watched is like right where I'm at. So it's kind of been cool to see him kind of from the start, from the Surfer stuff and all that, just kind of morph into by the beginning of 95 and what we're going to see kind of more of the Sandman we know.
The Sandman is someone who I didn't experience it all in real time, and yet I still feel an element of pride when I walk through the toy store and I see a WWE legend Sandman figure. You can't help but go, good on him. He's doing well. Good for Hack. Contrarian Alex, what about you, mate? Where does your fandom start and continue and strengthen from there?
I think the first time I would have seen him like on television was the Manhattan Center ECW Raw, and but I had known of him from Pro Wrestling Illustrated and the After Mags that the Rite Aid Pharmacy in Waterville, Ohio would have, and I would thumb through the pages of like, what is this ECW thing? And there's one famous picture of Dreamer. Like Tommy Dreamer had this like Crimson Mask picture that was like that they used in a lot of the magazines at the time. And so I always, you know, people talk about Sheik and Brody and like the really bloody pictures and stuff. And that's when I remembered Sandman was one of those too. But he just looked like crazy. And of course, I was like 8. Cigarettes are bad and dangerous. And he smokes cigarettes like in the ring like that. I just remember thinking he was like dangerous as a kid. And well,
yep.
In the immortal words of Sabu from his RF shoot interview, where he said, well, I forget how he phrased it, but he said, if he's sober, you got something to worry about. That's what he said about working the Sandman. But yeah, and then ECW obviously, and then I remember the Hack run, which this motherfucker got a WCW action figure, man. The original hardcore Hack that came with the barbed wire and the Singapore cane. And just thinking it was really weird, like because they just had him in all black, because that was part of like the appeal of him initially, was he wore like these really bright wore Zubaz and shit to wrestle in, and he was one of those guys that was just kind of ever present, and he always brought like an air of unpredictability. Oracle, did you go to the WrestleCon show that weekend where he?
I was there. Yeah, oh yeah, I lost my damn mind.
Yeah, he just quick aside, there was a battle royal that had a whole list of characters to begin with, but then afterwards the person who won the battle royal was like, there's no one that can beat me, and you know the opening strings of Enter Sandman start and everyone just lost their shit, and he actually ended up like he walked down the row of chairs that we were sitting in, and I remember him just like move, you know, and to get out of the way. And if you've experienced that either just via like television or in person, his entrance, you know, like how special it is, and just like a only in pro wrestling kind of way. But yeah, definitely over like the past 15 years, I've developed this sense of like warmth towards Hack, just because it's the level to which he's succeeded. And you know, we're not talking about Bret Hart here tonight, boys. Like he's the guy that just had an ability to connect with the crowd, and also, and like we'll talk about, did some crazy shit along the way that helped prolong it. But you know, Sandman, he's one of those guys. He goes anywhere now, and it's still like, hey, there's Sandman. Like people are excited to see him. So yeah, and it has to be mentioned, the legends and just like anecdotes about his antics in and around the ring are always something of great comedy to me. I didn't fully commit to the bit, but the thing in ECW was always, they said it was bottle of vodka, 12-pack of beer, and a half-gallon of milk was always what he came to shows with. That he would just be posted up, you know, lighting up a cigarette and taking a big hit off his half-gallon of milk, talking about who he's gonna be in the ring that night.
Incredible. An incredible way to set the stage for this program, and it has to be said, putting together a lineup for the Sandman is a different kind of challenge, right? It was an adventure, to say the least. And we will explain our conclusions. But first, we have to say we went to no expense here. Contrarian Alex went to no expense, more importantly. And in order to produce a fitting lineup, even if we may or may not have ignored most of his requests, we did go to the man himself. Contrarian Alex set this up. Alex, we'll get your commentary on this in a moment, but I think let's just play it, right? Let's just give the people, and in all its glory, here is a message from the Sandman himself, folks. Here we go.
All right, Joey, Bobby, and the Oracle. Dude, you're asking me a hard question here. Like, the favorite or the ones that got me over the most? So, I don't know. Stairway to Hell with Sabu. That might have been Ladders, Tables, and Chairs. Funk Out of the Box. Check that one out when I pulled him out of the box. Fucking, I don't know. Against Cactus. And then probably Cactus barbed wire match because I always wanted to do a barbed wire match with Cactus. Peace, bitches.
You might just make it.
So, firstly, clearly, if you're on the fence about getting a cameo from Hack, Alex, fair to say, worth the money, right? That was spectacular.
Absolutely. It was like a Cyber Monday thing. I was like, okay, I'm gonna bite on this so I can. And I said, hey, my friends and I are getting together to watch some of your matches, and we'd like to know like what your top 3 matches are. And I also asked him what his favorite Christmas movie was because I thought that'd be funny. So he just completely ignored that part of the request. But the funniest part is if you've ever ordered a Cameo before, I like the gimmick is like the person has 7 days to do it, and then you just get your money back if they don't fulfill your request or whatever. And it got down to like the 11th hour, and I was like, oh man, I tried. And then I guess Hack got the word that he wasn't going to get his money if he didn't do it. So like the notification went off, with minutes to spare, and then so he kind of answered the question somewhere in there. Yeah.
The Funk in a Box still was the thing. Is that the Return of the Funker show? I was researching this earlier, and I believe the reason Sandman is so proud of that, because I've seen him bring this up in multiple interviews, I guess it was his angle, I think he put this together, which is why he remembers it so vividly. Terry Funk coming out of a box.
And it's the thing where he has the red, white, and blue pants on, right? Like underneath like a cloak. Yeah, and so people think it's Sandman. Yeah. But
we did get a Cactus match, and we did do the Sabu ladder match. So we did okay, right?
Yeah.
We did okay. I mean, he didn't, to be quite honest, he didn't seem... I didn't get the sense that his move would be dependent on our lineup, I'll put it that way. I think he's pretty content with us kind of going our own way. And we did that here. There's no real room for acts when it comes to the Sandman, right? I mean, there's no reason to stress upon different incarnations or eras. To me, the appeal of this program, and what makes it an interesting subject is, he's the Sandman throughout all of it, right? I mean, for us, across what do we got here? 23-year span we're going to cover today. And he's just the Sandman the entire time. But there is obviously some steps for that. Bobby referenced his time prior to the Sandman we know and love. The kind of surfer vibe, which I think he's explained was purely a result of him being sent to, I think, Memphis, like Lawler asked for a couple guys. He was one of them. That was the gimmick, right? I think was the reason for that. Temper in 1989, I believe. Originally was Mr. Sandman, which is, he's original ECW. I've forgotten this. That early ECW is so fascinating, dude. Him and
TWA.
Don Morocco.
Yeah.
Dude, him and Don Morocco working for the strap.
Yep.
Yeah, one of my, and you'll forgive me, Joe, I took note of a few of my favorite Hack anecdotes, and one of them was TWA was the promotion that would become ECW, and it was run by Todd Gordon, and they started it in Oracle 92, 91, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And Todd Gordon, I remember watching his interview with Sean Oliver, and he's telling it so matter-of-factly, but it was making me laugh so fucking hard. He started looking at venues in Philadelphia, like sports bars, to run their shows at, and he found one he really liked, but the owner of the bar he knew he was friends with Hack. He's like, you can run here, but that dude is not allowed back in my bar. And Todd Gordon's like, well, what happened? And it was one of those, he knows what he did. And so Sandman had to personally apologize to this dude for them to run the first TWA show at this bar.
Well, that really did set the tone for all that was ahead of those shows.
That's so good because Sean Oliver goes, he's like, Todd, that didn't make you stop and think for a minute that you hadn't even started this promotion and Hack is already getting you into shit.
Tremendous stuff. Of course, it was in 1993. He takes the Sandman name before that, but it's 94, I believe, where he takes kind of the vibe that we came to know, right? And the look, the aesthetic, the gimmicks, on whatever you want to phrase it. And is soon paired with Woman, who actually get to see him alongside here in our opening. Before we even get into that, I think, it is actually important because we're going to talk about a lot of stuff in the match. Oracle, Woman was a big deal for Sandman there as an emerging player. Woman had national notoriety and was terrific in that role, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was incredibly instrumental in his act and got him, and was honestly like at the start she was like 60% of the act, to be honest.
Yes.
And then like she really helped him get like over and got the Singapore cane over, and all that stuff. Of course, she was instrumental in the Tommy Dreamer program they do, 94, 95. She has a really great send-off involving the Sandman in late 95. That's awesome. I believe it's November 95. Yeah, and they're together for like a year and a half or so. I mean, they're together for a long time. And then of course Missy Hyatt's with Hack for several months through well in 96. But yeah, tremendous act. Probably the best version of Sandman.
Woman
overall as like an overall act.
She was with him when he did the stuff with Austin in 95, right?
At the start of it, maybe, but she was already she'd be on her way out for a little bit of it, but I think she was gone by. She was either gone. They either did an angle at November 95, or she was gone at the beginning of 96. I can't remember. It might have been the beginning of 96 that she left. But I remember she was around a little bit for that, I think, Alex. But I don't know. I can't quite remember if she was around for all of it or not.
Sandman did a busted open interview a couple years ago, Alex, but he said he spoke extensively about how much Woman helped him psychologically with angles. She said she had an incredible eye for angles because obviously Kevin Sullivan, right? It was like he was famed for his eye for pro wrestling angles, and like she had a huge part in the Dreamer Kane deal, from what I remember, and like certain things that the angle they did, the blinding angle, and Sandman wanted to do it a certain way, and Woman like explained to him the correct way to do it, and he followed her lead, and she was right about it. Says she was really big. Alex, what were you going to say?
Oh, the main thing, I don't know if you watched the promos after this, but I watched the Sandman is wearing a Woman gimmick shirt, like an ECW gimmick shirt. I was like, I had never seen that before in my life, and you know how crazy wrestling collectors are now with T-shirts. I'm like, there's one of those in circulation somewhere. Someone's going to pay fucking $3,500 for. Yeah,
it was awesome. Did you watch the Shane Douglas promo on that TV by any chance?
Yeah, that's this. They were hawking the Tully Blanchard Shane match that I think we've talked about that before. Like it happened, but it was so bad they never like showed any of the footage or anything.
Yeah, it's just the sound about the vibe of him in front of the swimming pool. It was very funny, very very funny ordeal.
At the Travel Lodge there in Philly, probably. Yeah.
But yeah, nonetheless, Woman was a significant part of the early Sandman story, especially initially as a heel, of course, and he eventually becomes just kind of. He's so familiar to the audience, the entrance, so on and so forth. He inevitably becomes someone the people just adore, right, and revere. But that's his initial presentation. That leads us into our first match. January 31st, 1995 edition of Hardcore TV, taped on the 16th. Cactus Jack and the Sandman. Falls count anywhere. We're in Orlando, Florida for this one. Dave Meltzer, in 1995, went 4 1/4 on this. That's how excited he was about the whole deal. And I don't know if it quite reaches those lofty heights here in 2025, but there are some very interesting, very Foley elements at play. And there is some, your usual brutality you'd expect from this pairing. Bobby, what did you make of this, mate?
I thought it was a lot of fun. You kind of know what you're getting with these two. They come out and right away Foley just starts hitting them with a chair, trash can, everything. The trash can spots are kind of crazy in this match because Sandman is determined to take all of them head first, which, I mean, fair. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff you like to see. There's top rope leg drop. There's another top rope leg drop into the can. Like Cactus punching him until he falls off the top rope is something that I haven't seen a ton, I don't think. And then, once Cactus punches the trash can, and then Sandman kind of capitalizes on that, uses the trash can against his hand. And first of all, his hand looks awesome, by the way. It gets real cut up and all gnarly looking. And yeah, I loved it. I thought they did a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah, the stuff with the hand is probably the highlight for me, Alex. That was
limb work.
Very, very Foley. Yes, we love some hand work. Very Foley to add like a little bit of depth, and he cuts the promo with the blood on the hand, and he loves just those kind of ingredients, right? But this was a good time. I think this would really actually end up being kind of by mistake a really perfect place to start because you see an early ECW here, right? Like, I mean, this is a different vibe. The setting, the venue, the presentation. An interesting look, but what did you make of this, Alex?
Yeah, it was good. And you're right. It's hard to lose perspective sometimes, or it's easy, to lose perspective on how quickly ECW ascended. Because look at this fucking venue they're running. Yep. And, less than 3 years later, they're running like actual, concert halls and venues on pay-per-view. But anyway, I always forgot that Cactus came out to Born to Be Wild. I don't know why that makes me laugh, but it's a good little reminder of that here. Man, Hack just head trauma city immediately. The trash can shots, the chair shots, and then when he gets back with him, it's those old plastic chairs with like the steel legs, and he swings it upside down. So like Foley just takes the legs to the back, and you can almost see him look at him like, you motherfucker. I thought this was fun. I'm not fond of giving Joey Styles compliments on his commentary, but there's a part where Hack took a can of Coca-Cola and he hit Foley in the head with it, and Joey Styles goes, "It's the real thing," which was, a marketing slogan for them, which I appreciated. Hack, I think, inadvertently invents the famous there in this match because he's just one of the things we will talk about as this progresses. Part of the charm of Sandman is he would just like try stuff. Like he would get in the ring and sometimes he'd end up falling on his ass, and that was like, well, dust yourself off and try again. But here you can see he's trying to like figure out what he's gonna do, and then he's like, all right, we'll just fall forward and I'll see if this works. And young Billy Gunn took note of that. There's also a part where Foley finds like a little toy guitar and he hits Sandman in the head with it, and Joey Styles decries that it's the Wayne Ferris special. Real gnarly looking pile driver from Hack, where he's doing the thing where he's just holding him up by his tights. And then Cactus wins with the Cactus elbow. I couldn't tell if they had made this declaration before the match if it was Falls Count Anywhere, if we were still doing the thing in ECW where all their matches were Falls Count Anywhere or whatever, but he pins him on the outside, and then he hits Cactus in the head with the Singapore cane approximately 30 times after the match.
Yes. Yep, choices were made.
4.25.
I believe this was an official. This specifically Falls Count. I think we're still in that time where it was like, because this is still when Douglas's thing is like. The ironic thing about the NWA title being thrown down. Well, mileage may vary, but the ironic thing about him throwing the NWA title down is he then is just an NWA champion, isn't he? I mean, that's what his whole thing is, which is, I think, does get slightly lost. That's what Shane Douglas' actual wrestling influences are. I'm not even having fun of his expense here. I think people think of him as like. He obviously did the edgy, like, fuck Ric Flair and all that, but his actual wrestling stylings
Richard Flair
trying to be an NWA champion. I did think it was cool. I mean, whenever in the last match we do on the show, the way they keep talking about Sandman is he's a hardcore innovator, right? They constantly innovate, and it is nice to kind of, while we have fun about the star ratings, Dave's rating on this does give you an indication of like, while this stuff feels very standard fare, it obviously did hit different in 1995, right? And I think it is nice to kind of have that frame of reference, that contemporary response. Oracle, what did you make of this, mate?
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. Really the thing that stood out to me the most was the handwork, which I did not I did not recall because I'm pretty sure I've seen this match before. And I did not remember the hand work, and that popped me huge. And then I realized that Mick's hand was bleeding, which made it even better. So that was awesome. And I also liked his like, let me just collapse with the cactus elbow instead of like leap with it. He just sort of dropped his body on top of Sandman's, and it looked really fucking painful, even more so than it would be from like the typical run or like running start for some reason. But yeah, this was a ton of fun, and of course the post match is really good with Woman and Sandman beating the ever living shit out of Cactus with a cane. But yeah, this is a good match and a good feud. Their barbed wire match is good too as well.
Yeah, this, at the end of this show, Alex, you mentioned the promos.
Mm-hmm.
And none of this is about Sandman, but Cactus cuts an incredible promo to put over the Texas Death Match. I don't know if you caught that particular promo, but my goodness, it is spectacular, isn't it? Tremendous promo.
I mean, Cactus is pretty famous for his promo work in ECW, but yeah. Different discussion for different day, I guess. But if you've never seen that Texas Death Match, Hack is certainly on one in it.
Yep, I haven't, and I believe that. Very much believe that. So, in the time between, we have 3 years between our matches in this opening, again, kind of act. Oracle, it is insane. We all alluded to it a moment ago. The transformation ECW would go through in these years. If you could quickly kind of paint the picture of Sandman specifically from January 95 to January 98, the kind of path he takes in that 3 years.
Yeah, so he and Nancy are together through the end of 95. She goes to WCW. Missy Hyatt becomes his valet at the beginning of 96, and she is there through the summer of 96 and is involved in the early portions of the Raven program, the infamous Raven program. By the beginning of 97, he is involved in the world title picture with Raven and Terry Funk, and is in the and I believe he's in that match, isn't he? And Barely Legal, he's in the 3-way.
Yeah, it's him, Stevie, and Terry.
Yep. And then he not long after that, he gets involved in the WWF versus ECW feud, which involves Jerry Lawler, Jim Cornette, RVD.
It sure does.
Sabu. Yep. And he basically feuded with Sabu for the remainder of that year and into where we come to next. He has a much different look here. Yeah, he does. This is sort of an often forgotten look for Hack. The goatee and beard and
I think he looks awesome for whatever it's worth.
Real 90s scumbag look. It's great.
Yeah, he looks awesome. The feud you're mentioning, and the one we're about to cover, the Sabu feud, includes the aforementioned November to Remember match, which is like a part of wrestling lore, right? Fair to say. It's one of those matches, again, it's one of those, you got to see it. If you're a wrestling man, you have to watch it. We'll be watching it for LNG Gold members. But this is, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but it feels like this was kind of a make good for that in some ways, because they clearly approach this very differently, even if the result is more punishment and pain and suffering for those involved. This is a very different match. This is generally the most revered match of Sandman's career, especially singles match. I think this is the most kind of acclaimed match of his career. ECW House Party, January 10th, 1998, Stairway to Hell, Sabu and the Sandman. A match that for me is kind of a match of two halves. Not the one's better than the other. They're just different in terms of tone and content. There is a very memorable happening along the way. Much to discuss. Oracle, what did you make of Sandman and Sabu?
Yeah, I actually agree with your assessment. I think the first half of the match is your sort of run-of-the-mill ECW brawl all the time, which is always exciting because, the fans in the arena are always hot and they go and brawl up into the crow's nest, do some crazy bumps there. The match really escalates when they come back to ringside after they brawl in the crow's nest. And things get pretty wild. One point, Hack suplexes. One of my favorite things he does is when he suplexes ladders on the people.
Yes.
He literally just acts like he's suplexing a ladder essentially. Does the leg drop on the ladder through the table where Sabu's head goes through a table. Of course, the legendary spot where Sabu breaks his jaw, has to tape it back together after he takes a big bump into the guardrail, jaw first. And the match escalates into insane and awesome violence. Because Stairway to Hell is, climb the ladder and get the barbed wire from the rafters. Hack uses it and wraps it around himself and beats the hell out of Sabu with it and all this stuff. And then Sabu turns the tables on him and wraps Hack in it. Hack is a bloody fucking mess by the end of it, and it looks awesome.
Real subtle blade job, right?
Yeah,
right,
very much.
right.
Yeah, very much. Especially the
Tree of
third
Woe,
go, it was concealed.
The running Tree of Woe spot is fucking insane with Hack wrapped in the barbed wire. The finish is incredible, where Hack just decides to violently hit Sabu's broken jaw with the kendo stick as hard as you can in the face multiple times. And that is what leads to the victory for Hack here. This is a classic ECW match, a legitimately great match, I think, in the end, because the escalation of violence is so extreme, which is what you want out of a kind of a big stipulation match in ECW.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just a tremendous spectacle. Everything you would think would that you would have in an ECW match of this type. Wild bumps, stupid spots, fun spots, hot crowd, crazy moments, holy shit moments, blood. And the rare good finish in ECW, which is not as common. But just a tremendous match, and I think is certainly probably Sandman. Sabu's got some other ones that are a little bit. Sabu was a little bit more consistent in terms of what he could deliver, but in terms of Hack singles matches, I think this might be the best one.
You mentioned subtlety, Alex. I was watching this in my headphones. Hack just yelling on the final cane shot. Put your hand up, ready. Excellent. Doesn't get any. There's no greater thrill than the idea of even the Sandman going, you better fucking protect yourself on this, because there are still rules, damn it. I'm going to swing this thing as hard as I can. I was like, man, if he's saying that, it shows you the kind of lunatic Sabu was, right? Like,
yeah.
Do not let me just hit you in the skull with this cane, please. Whatever it takes.
He's really loud in this whole match. There's a lot of, It's like
Well, part of that is the crowd really likes the match, but once the injury happens, the jaw injury, the atmosphere definitely changes, doesn't it? Like the crowd, they seem a little bit uncomfortable with it.
They're
to be honest
uncomfortable,
with you. Yeah. Which takes some doing, because it's 1998. They've seen a lot by this point.
Because and Sabu and Fonzie are like taping up Sabu's jaw.
Yeah.
This is like, meanwhile, Hack is like blown up, just standing, bleeding everywhere, and just like standing with his mouth open, breathing through his mouth. And it's a very odd visual.
It is indeed. Bobby, had you seen this before, and what did you make of it, mate?
I had not. I thought it was a great time, and really, Sabu does all the stuff we kind of talked about in his episode that you want him to do. He does Air Sabu, he does the Arabian Facebuster, all that stuff, and that's what you want to see. But and I knew that this was a match where he broke his jaw, so I was aware of that going in. But you talk about, and it is just kind of a basic brawl at first, like you guys said, but it does turn into just this violent spectacle, and among the best that I've ever seen, to the point where it was a little bit uncomfortable at the end. Even I felt it a little bit. The crowd felt it. I felt it. When Sandman went off the top of the ladder through the tables, obviously we've seen that a ton in WWF, since then. But when they do it, they do it towards the ramp. So there's a wider area. These two did it just right towards the crowd. So a lot could have went wrong there. But a hell of a time, though. Truly.
Yeah, that first half it's almost the Sabu showcase, because obviously he has so much stuff he can do, and I think we see it in the next match of AJ. And this is not a knock; it is what it is. Those guys that have kind of athletically an extra tier or two to go into, it opens up a creativity that allows Hack's kind of insanity to run wild, right? And you see that here. Sabu gets to play some hits. It's when that injury happens, it becomes more gore than thrills, to be honest with you. And I don't know which part of the match I prefer. Both work equally, but it creates quite the complete picture, I think. The combination of that blade job with the jaw injury is like, whoa, this is out of control. Yeah, and you're not exaggerating either. He literally is like flaring his hand at his forehead. It's unbelievable. And he goes back at it again. It's just
he's lucky
marvelous.
It didn't get worse because this is while Sabu's like taking punches and hitting him with shit.
Yeah.
So it could,
I'm sure it's fine. Alex, what did you make of this?
It's buried in my shelf, and I want to break it out. But ECW Deep Impact was one of their Pioneer Entertainment home video releases that I acquired as like a 13 or 14-year-old, and this was one of the matches on it. So I am very familiar with this match. Watching it in the rip you provided, Joe, was kind of cool though because it was more of like a VHS quality. So I know this one was they pushed pretty hard on the home video market because of the main event, like. The violence, you've never seen anything like this, that type of thing. But this is a hoot. Most memorable for me in this match, I had a roommate in college, Shutdown Brown is what we called him. His name was Zach Brown. And we watched this match several times, and there's a part in this match where Sabu's on the ground, like on all fours, and I guess Hack is he's not really sure what to do or anything. And he stands over Sabu and he claps his hands. He goes, and then he just drops an elbow. But it's not like, the great mood of power drive elbow. This is not. He kind of just falls on top of Sabu. And it's also during one of his grunts. So he just, and like falls on Sabu. And so in our apartment, that was kind of a joke. He got back from class. If he was taking a nap on the couch or something, you walk up and give him the hack elbow. So, I think part of the reason he tells Sabu at the end, like, hands up, ready, is because that first kendo stick shot he cracks him with, he wears him out with that thing, man. I laughed really hard. I forgot that Sabu lands the triple jump moonsault entirely on Hack's knees. And so he's just like, he's not selling. He's just like, he sits up and he's bleeding and all blown up and shit. I mean, this match is like a beautiful disaster. And I think you could say that about pretty much every interaction these two had in a professional wrestling ring. This one is just more of a coherent match versus, of course, like November to Remember 97.
Right.
So yeah, this is a really good time. It's a very memorable ECW arena, match. It's one of those, I think, of the aesthetic of, if I think of the ECW arena, a visual that'll come to my brain is Sandman holding up the barbed wire, and it's got that old ECW banner in the background, and then and he acquired the barbed wire because he goes and then he gets knocked off the ladder.
Knocked off is putting it mildly too. He goes flying, doesn't he? My goodness.
He falls like 50 pounds of shit, man. He just like it's this. I mean, we'll get more into it, especially the last match we do on this. Hack's bumping was fucking heroic, man.
It was. It's actually, I think, because of the way he dresses up and the funny sounds he makes, it's understated the craziness of his bumping. I think I actually, like, even in the first match, he takes that tumble to the floor like Bobby Eaton. It's not quite as graceful, but same vibe. All right, let's put a bow on Act 1 again, if there is such a thing. Before the WCW move, what other matches would you fellas like to call out here before we take a jump to WCW for the ill-fated run?
There is the triple threat with Austin and Mikey Whipwreck. That's memorable. I mean, the Cactus stuff, the Texas Death Match, for those who don't know, it's on one of Foley's DVDs because he thought it was so funny. Hack gets like knocked out or concussed something immediately, and he forgets the gimmick of the match is to stay down for a 10 count. So like Foley's just getting more and more progressively frustrated with the match as it goes on. His Hack will just get up at 2, and so there's that. He is in the main event, of Barely Legal, the first pay-per-view, which makes sense. He's a guy that, a lot of new eyes are going to watch this. So Sandman was definitely different than anything that was on Raw or Nitro at that point in time. And he, there's two parts in that I remember. Oracle, do you remember he like disappears and then he comes back out with a trash can and just throws it from like
That's
15 feet away, and it lands on Terry Funk's head.
Yes.
And of course, Terry being the greatest wrestler of all time, he does that thing where he starts to get up and falls over and sells it. But there's that, and then the finish of that match involves Sandman retrieving barbed wire from under the ring. But the problem is they had that Michinoku 6-man on the show, in which the fans all threw streamers in the ring, and the crew, to clean it up, just spooled them all together and stuffed them under the apron or the ring. And so they got stuck to this barbed wire. So what's supposed to be a really cool visual of Sandman covering himself in barbed wire, he looks like he's wearing, the Technicolor Dream Coat, because there's all these different color streamers stuck to it. And he wraps himself in it. He looks like fucking 2015 Bailey. Like he's just covered in all this shit. And it's obviously it's more comical than dangerous. But there's that. I never really dug any of the Raven stuff.
Yeah, the matches weren't any good.
Well, Goldberg is, I think, Raven's best match. So anyway, there's obviously the crucifixion and some big infamy there. The Heatwave 98 main event, that's kind of widely regarded as the pinnacle show of ECW, and it's, help me out, Oracle, is it Sandman, Spike, and Tommy against the Dudleys?
I think that might be right.
I remember the big thing is New Jack runs in at the end and just kills everybody, which
is always the highlight.
Yeah. And then we end up in WCW, so we'll talk about that. But I mean, there's plenty to go back and revisit. It's he's I think for some of the reasons we've already discussed, you're not really going to have a bad time watching a Sandman match.
What is the lore behind Hack? Because he's stressed continually that everyone calls him Hack. His family calls him Hack. Do we know what the lore is? Do we know?
I do, actually. It was in the Observer. It's pretty
Oh,
dumb.
shit. Hang on a second, Bobby. Wait, your audio's there. There you go, Bobby. Go for it, mate.
Okay. For the show that airs at 226, it's Hardcore Hack beating Damien. Kevin Sullivan asked him for a ring name that afternoon since the genius is running the company still didn't come up with one. He said his nickname was Hack, so there you go.
Oh, I mean, it kind of answers, I suppose, yeah. Excellent. I mean, he has told that story about Kevin Nash being the booker and being like, we need you to just be Sandman. And he's like, what should we call you? You just call me Hack. Kevin Nash like, excellent. So, yeah, tremendous stuff. Or any matches to add before we jump to WCW, mate?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. The ones Alex addressed are pretty much the ones that are like worth going out of your way to see.
Tremendous.
Oh, it is before we get to WCW. Another great Sandman story to call out of when they did the FMW tour, when they took the ECW guys over there. Yeah. The famous story of Sandman putting together a match backstage at a show in Japan run by Japanese people. And he puts together his match, and the first thing he says is, he's like, all right, you Pearl Harbor me. And so,
Oh, that is tremendous. He jumps to WCW in September 98, which I believe he said was the first year where he made more money wrestling than his construction business. That first year, that contract would have been. And I think Bob, did the Observer have his number? I remember the Observer did have his number, but I don't know if you found it. Wasn't it like 250?
I was not able to find it. Let me look again real quick.
I think it was 250. I remember it was one of those ones where Dave had the number. Whether it's true or not is a different thing, obviously.
So wait, he must have sat at home and gotten paid for a while because he didn't debut until January 99.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe that WCW paid someone just to sit at home.
When does he do the thing with Raven?
The normal thing. I knew that was not going to be debated. So
when did he do the thing with Raven where he's like in the Raven skits and all that?
Where he plays he's like Raven's stepdad, right,
that's like
Jim?
December of 98.
Yeah.
That's probably the first time he was actually used, but
what is he the weirdest ECW site? Whipwreck, I think, is the one, right? Whipwreck was an insane signing.
Actually, because Mike, I contend Mikey's actually good in the ring.
Mikey's a good worker, and like you could see the idea of like you put Mikey and Juventud on Nitro, you can kill 7 minutes. The idea of like,
yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's even stranger that we end up in the World Wrestling Federation by the end of this with the Sandman. But like in 98, 99, yeah. I mean, to his credit, he knew what to do. He picked up some rigs and some D-ball, and he got ready for this run on television, man.
He is so big in this match. Like, he is just bloated is the word for it, I think. Right? He's just very, very large.
Shitty ring attire, and yeah, he's just like, he looks like a stuffed sausage in that black T-shirt he's wearing. And
unless I'm mistaken, this is the look they have recently captured in figure form, right, Alex?
Let's see here. I don't know if we have any.
The big man is back.
Oh, there we go.
Look, I mean, look, that's. They really made a Hack figure. Right?
While we're here, I got to show off the actual elite. This is actually the chase with the red, white, and blue pants on. So
yeah,
these indiscriminate cans that he comes with.
What an incredible thing! Sandman double dipping on elite figures in 2025. Wonderful.
3 years, 200,000, Joe.
Hell yeah. Beast mode. All right, thank you, Bob. So we asked, yes,
200,000 over 3 years or 200,000 a year?
That would be annually.
Yeah, it has to be annually. Yeah.
What the fuck?
But Sandman did really well for himself in his non-wrestling endeavors.
That was, it's for those who may not know, I know Joe made allusion to it a few minutes ago. That was kind of the thing, was he never really needed wrestling. Yeah. Because he had a construction company, and for those who don't know, that's a pretty lucrative line of work here in the United States.
Yeah, there's a shoot where he talks about, and obviously wrestlers, they lie, but he's honestly in those occasions, pretty straight shoot, because he doesn't remember a ton of it. So when he does remember, he's willing to tell you. But he said, in one of those interviews, he said they sold their business for over $1 million. Like, he did very well for himself. So, he just did the wrestling thing to pop himself, I suppose, along the way. And man, did we pop ourselves for this next one. We asked the great Oracle of Wrestling, the immense value of the Oracle of Wrestling is you can say things like, what Hack WCW match should we do? And when us mere mortals are just considering doing a Kevin Nash match, he boldly responds, actually, Damien would be the play. And there are two of these matches, two of them. There's a worldwide match that is like mostly comedy, where Hack puts the cane in between them and they pull at the cane. Yeah. Yes. But we, of course, focused on the more familiar and celebrated encounter on Thunder, everyone's favorite wrestling television show, February 25th, 1999, Damien and the Sandman. There are over 9,000 people in attendance for this Thunder.
That Thunder theme song, man, took me back to the horror of being a PlayStation kid, and you didn't get Revenge, but you got Thunder, which was one of the worst wrestling games ever made. But you have to convince yourself, because you're a kid and it's what you got, that it's good. God damn it! So I just remember that Thunder theme. I was hearing that all the time.
Does anyone know what was the main event match of this show?
No,
brother.
I think it has somewhere around a 2-3 on cage match. Bret the Hitman Hart versus the Disco Inferno.
Oh, yes.
All right, well, hold on now. We're doing the wrong show here.
That is the main event. I think it has 9 minutes or so, and every review is like, God, this was boring. I was just in awe. Oracle, just quickly, if you can, could you explain the hilarity of Damien being here?
So, this was in like the... So, Damien... I can't even explain it. So
yeah, it's tough. I understand.
Damien was one of many luchadors that they brought over from Mexico, and Hack was brought in part to do the hardcore division thing, which they wanted to do. And sometimes they would just, because it's WCW, they would just have like guys work whoever. That was like the great charm and awesomeness of WCW. So someone, Kevin Nash or whoever, I doubt it was, I mean, who knows, just decided that they were going to do Hack versus Damien. And that's what we got. Did. I mean, that's literally.
And let's go a step further. Let's go a step further, Oracle. Bobby Heenan is on the call.
Oh, that's right.
That's my first note. Bobby Heenan calling a Sandman match.
Literally verbatim the exact same thing on my note. First thing, Bobby Heenan. The King of Hardcore. They are presenting Sandman Hack, I should say. as this sort of hardcore rebel, renegade, tough guy, so on and so forth. He's got the barbed wire all around him, like that figure we just saw. If you've seen WCW Thunder, you'll know what this means. It has that distinct audio of a WCW Thunder episode. By that I mean it sounds like shit. This is a Hack's match. Hack explains that this seems to be everything goes around here, so his match is going to be contested under Hack's rules, a Hack's match. He is very large. At one point, Tony Schiavone is so checked out that he literally says every time he takes a bump, is what he says. Verbatim. This is an adventure. Oracle, how proud of you were you of your handiwork as you sat back and observed this masterpiece?
I'm so happy because Hack doesn't take his barbed wire off and Damien goes right after him. And Damien goes for a lariat and then fucking sells that he clotheslined the barbed wire.
Psychology.
So he's reeling in the corner, but a Hack still doesn't take his barbed wire all the way off, so they're brawling and grappling. And then Damien goes for a punch or something, and then sells his hand because he punched the barbed wire. And then basically after this, it's just a Hack display. One point Hack goes to the floor and Damien does a dive, and Hack gives the most half-assed attempt at catching him ever, and basically power bombs him on his head.
Yeah, he power bombs him. Yeah. But I think it was the opposite. I think he tried so hard to catch him that he plants him on the. He bumps him. It's bizarre.
Hack basically does spots on the floor. He does his leg drop on the barricade, right? I think is what he does.
Yeah, he does both. He does it in ring and then on the barricade.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then I think his finisher is a side Russian leg sweep.
Yeah.
Is that what he is?
Yes.
He uses the kendo stick. It was called the White Russian leg sweep.
The White Russian. Okay, that must be a. This was not long after the Big Lebowski, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This would have been early '99. So that might be what that reference is from.
It's got Nash all over it. That has, mate.
Yeah.
That has got Nash all over it.
Fuck, Cohen's, man. Fuck it.
Yeah. Cohen's.
But yeah, this was a ton of fun. I mean, the match is not much, but just the pairing and the fact that it was better than just absolutely it was clearly entertaining. It wasn't a waste of time, which I mean rarely ever is with Hack. But just the early stuff with the barbed wire was just popping me huge. Just a fun little 6 minutes.
Absolutely. Hell of a time, Alex. This is it's a wacky one. It's very fitting, I think. Representation of Hack in WCW, right?
Yeah. And for the sake of it, when Hack grabs the mic, he goes, "Yo!" to the crowd, and then he says, a Hack's match. This reeks of, they explained to him the concept, or someone told him, come up, you're gonna say it's a Hacks match, but come up with something else, and then he just didn't. He just went up there and was "This is a Hacks match." He does say in the promo though, since I've been here at WCW, it's become apparent to me that everyone here just does whatever the hell they want. And I'm like, brother, shooting out there, man.
Yep. Boys in the back.
It's funny you mentioned too, because one of my notes is Tony Schiavone says bump on commentary.
Yep.
And I do have the note about the catch there. It looks like Sandman was at a point where he was trying to do good and not, he was trying to impress the people in the back that he could, catch dives and shit. And he looks like he just way overthinks it. And then he gets to this point, he's like, oh, fuck, I don't know what to do. The funniest part about that is he tries really hard to catch him on that dive and then ends up kind of dumping him. And then a few minutes later in the ring, Damien goes for a moonsault that Hack is 4 zip codes over from, and Damien almost falls on his fucking head. This match is just chaos in a very fun TV wrestling kind of way. It's obviously one of those on paper, you see it, and I mean, just when Oracle messaged the group, oh yeah, the Damien match, it just popped me huge. So definitely lived up to it. We talk a lot about how strange 99 WCW got, and this I think is pretty emblematic of that. You have the Sandman wrestling Damien 666. 9,000 people are there. And Bobby Heenan's on commentary.
It's the opener too. Opening contest. And We focused a lot on the catch of the dive. What about the moonsault where he just eats knees to the skull?
No, dude.
I think Shivani says it, but at one point he does the leg drop, and I think it's Shivani. He goes, "Tell you what, guys, this hack can really go." This was a promotion in a whirlwind, folks. They were trying all they had. Tremendous stuff, Bobby. I'm sure you've studied this one before. What did you make of it on the latest rewatch, mate?
Yeah, it was fun. Not much to it. Obviously, it's only 5 minutes, but there was a lot of fun stuff with the kendo stick and the barbed wire, like Oracle talked about. I really did like the finish where Damien's kind of beating him up with it, and then Sandman just ducks and hits the leg sweep, and that's that. It's kind of all it needed to be. And to be honest with you, it sounds better than the main event, so they got that going for them.
I would agree, and Contreras and Alex may disagree, but nonetheless, we do want to note again, we will be recording a Grin along for the Nash match. It's on YouTube. What we're probably going to do is, honestly, we'll probably just split them so that on Christmas we can actually have a video that's just titled Kevin Nash versus Hack Grin along. Make sure it's not lost in the mist of November, remember. So we will be watching that, but it was considered, but when Oracle says things like the Damien match, you have to sort of... Something to be said for just conceding.
Decisions have to be made, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough business on families. We did the right thing. Okay, what else happens in the WCW run? Do we have any other sort of broad strokes memories, any significant moments before we go back to ECW?
He works that match that we covered with Bam Bam and Bam Bam's Grappler, which is great.
Yep.
That's his best match in WCW by far. I mean, he's just in the hardcore division doing shit. He comes out and smokes cigarettes in the ring and shit eventually at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was trying to remember how this all played out. He was managed, I think, in that Bam Bam match we did previously, managed by that Chastity was her name. Her whole deal was she had previously done adult movies and she didn't make that evident, and WCW found out and canned her. So, like, I guess there was an idea to make them like a hardcore pair, like on TV, like, they would do the hardcore matches together or whatnot. But that went away, and then I was trying to remember it, and I pulled it up here on the Wikipedia thing. He didn't really have like a dramatic exit. He was injured, and they just let him, like, they fired him when he was at home, pretty much. He was let go of his WCW contract in September '99 as part of a cost-cutting measure by the new WCW executive vice president Bill Bush. I imagine, they gave Bill a stack of 8x10s and wrote on the back how much each of them were getting paid. Yeah. And then he came to the hack one. He's like, huh?
This is right at the Junkyard Invitational. Oh, that's really bad. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I have to say, that was a very sinister Grin Grappler moment as Alex brought up Chastity and Oracle said, very matter-of-factly, yep. Yeah, tremendous stuff. What a run. A run of which we didn't see anything like for, God, the 25 years until EB went to Fightful, right? That's probably as close as we've got since. He would return to ECW, receiving one of the greatest reactions of that entire wrestling era, right? Yeah. I mean, I know that the ECW guys always joke about him and Raven always debate who got the better pop upon return. I think Hack won, to be honest with you. Hack's reaction is like, and the visual of him standing up there, oh my God, dude, it's just insane.
Because he's also like, he's leaned off the gas a bit, and so he's like cut, and it's easily the most impressive he ever looked physically. Alex,
do you have any like actual specific memories of that return, or kind of his role in the return to ECW that last couple of years? Because he's around until the end, isn't he?
He is. He's in the last main event. It's him, Carino, and Steve. But he pretty much just feuded with Rhino the entire time. He came back in '99, and they feuded until the end of the maybe fall of 2000. They had some good stuff. It's actually his return. That's one of those iconic ECW, the hard cam shot where Sandman's crashing the beer into his head and like the crowd just losing their fucking mind behind him. And then you see in the ring though, Rhino like calling him on to get in there and fight him. He like, you'll know what I mean when I say this. I think he kind of became like their, like what late stage Andre was, where it was just like the attraction like on the show. Cause I don't think they, with the exception of like right at the end there, I think Heyman got an idea that he was going to have Sandman put over Carino, and that would solidify him in the eyes of the fans. But for the most part, he just kind of showed up and would do, the Sandman match. And in 2000, he introduced a top rope Hurricane Rana into his repertoire, which was always fucking incredible to see. And yeah, just a lot of stuff with Rhino. Specifically, I remember they did the match where Sandman's wife got involved. And
that was great, the angle.
Yeah, Rhino pile drove her through a table in like one of those clips that was like everywhere because it just looks so gnarly. Yeah, he was. Yeah, I don't think there was much of an idea of him being like the top star in the company again or anything, but he was definitely used to like, hey, give these guys a rub so they can, if they can beat the Sandman, the fan base will take him seriously.
Big thanks to our friend McGruber. Sent a super chat. He said previously, I remember a Nitro and Bischoff, grey hair era, always scary. Told Hack to stop smoking in the ring and he takes his cigarette. That's when I knew he wasn't long for the company. Yeah, that will do it. Thank you for the super chat, brother. If you have a follow-up message, feel free to put in the chat. I will get it. Nonetheless, ECW, obviously, the demise in January 2001. As you said, he's on top there at the end.
The one thing I am sad about is that he is nowhere in any recollection, any version of the XPW parking lot brawl story. Hack's not anywhere near any of it. Yeah. And I just I wish there was a version that said he had his Singapore cane and was swinging it at all these fucking idiots. And, the big thing about that is it's New Jack, Rodney Mack, and Big Sally Graziano just wore those boys out. And that was basically, the extent of it. Hack was probably back at the hotel at that point.
I was going to say Hack's long gone, I think, by then.
Yeah.
So I was intrigued where you guys were at. So I think it's easy to forget because of the power of Rise and Fall of ECW, right? And the Rise and Fall of ECW, combined with, of course, them One Night Stand, which it fueled, gave the ECW legends a certain gravity that I think fans sometimes struggle to accept or appreciate. It wasn't necessarily there in the years between those things, right? In the immediate demise of ECW, the ECW fans missed it. But I don't know if people were watching Raw going, when is Hack going to show up? You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes those years are kind of lost. Obviously, we're about to cover a match from within that time. Alex, what would you say, Hack just kind of floats around, right, in that time? I know he famously does a shoot in 04 that's literally fresh out of jail where he settles in and does a 3-hour shoot about SmackDown and things of that nature. What does he do wrestling-wise outside of what we're about to discuss for the TNA run? Just floats around.
XPW was a big one, and then he just kind of bounces around. And you're right. We had our aside about Steve Corino in the last episode, but you're exactly right. Until Rise and Fall, most of these ECW guys just floundered on a small scene, with one massive exception of Rob Van Dam, who he came to WWF and became a fucking huge star instantly. But yeah, so Sandman was just doing indies and shit. Man, he wrestled. I tried to find a video of it, the whole match, and I couldn't. He wrestled Nick Mondo, who's, if you're not aware of Nick Mondo, independent wrestling legend. I remember Mondo had a shoot that I watched one time where he was talking about Sandman at the show, they're in the ring putting their match together. I think it was a triple threat, but he said Sandman's there just taking swigs from a bottle of vodka, and he's telling Mondo, he's like, yes, I'm going to throw you off that balcony. And Mondo is like, well, that's not happening. And then there's a part in the match where Hack goes and he gets a table out from under the ring and he throws it into the ring. Meanwhile, Mondo's back is to him. He doesn't know it's coming. The table just lands on the back of Mondo's head when Hack throws it in there. It's, again, it sounds fucked up, but there's a charm to it.
Yeah.
But by and large, these ECW legends, veterans, were floating around, and I think to kind of bridge the gap here, one of the bigger places that was offering decent paydays at that point in time was TNA. Just and it was not like it is now. This was very one-shot deals with all these guys, and most of those ECW guys landed there. I mean, Perry Saturn, Mike Awesome, New Jack, as funny as that is, was there for a while. Sandman, Raven, who we talked about in the Jeff Jarrett episode, had a big impact in the early days of TNA. So it's fair to say it was a much different scene than it is right now. But to your original point, come Christmas 04, I believe it was, when that DVD was released, that Rise and Fall of ECW thing, I still don't think people respect how much that changed.
I agree.
What was going on? Yeah.
And I think, Hack has talked about how he never expected a call from WWF because he's not like deluded as to what he was as an act, right? That was never going to be. And I think, in all fairness, and this is what you said, God, over an hour ago now. In reality, this should be the end of the story, right? I mean, I don't mean that to disparage the talent, but if we're just being realistic, ECW's demise should be followed by a few guest spots, and that should probably be the end of the Sandman wrestling star story. It gets an extended life coming up here. Before we get to that, we're going to dive here into NWA TNA, which I truly believe the insanity of what TNA has been in the sort of post-Impact Zone time, which now is 20 years, is so extreme that we don't fully do justice, Alex, how fucking nuts it was in that first couple of years of the weekly pay-per-view at the Asylum. This is a bonkers promotion, brother.
Dude, I remember a few years back I posted this clip that from one of those early Asylum shows. It was a 8-man tag. It was Dusty Rhodes, the Road Warriors, and I can't remember who, against Low-Key, Elix Skipper, and Christopher Daniels. And there's this part in it where like Road Warrior Animal and Low-Key like run these high spots together. And I remember just posting a clip of it, and even like some high profile wrestlers, like I remember Mike Santana like responded to it. He's like, "What the fuck is this from?" I'm like, "Brother, that's the company you work for, man." It's you're exactly right. There's like the main event of this show is Vader and Dusty Rhodes tagging against the fucking Harris brothers. Like it's
and the big hook with that angle is Nikita Koloff.
It's very strange now with the relationship that it has never been referenced again. But fucking Punk was working in TNA around this point in time.
I really do. I think it's such a bizarre operation, but TNA has been so consistently weird. I don't think we do enough justice by how fucking nuts it was in that early time. And here you get a look at that. February 26, 2003, to be exact, the NWA TNA's latest weekly pay-per-view, the aforementioned Dusty and Vader versus Harris Brothers main event. Sandman taking on AJ Styles, who is already just... He's AJ Styles. He's phenomenal, right? To be even more lazy. We have Pretend Enter Sandman for Sandman's entrance. This may
but
be...
they only did like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So it just keeps looping over and over again. Yeah.
They did.
This truly could be, and I say this respectfully, the craziest the Hack's ever looked.
He looks like it's been a rough few days in Nashville.
It does, indeed. This famously starts with an AJ Styles dive, and it never looks back. It is nuts. It is crazy. It's around 8 minutes long. Chaos all round, Bobby. Had you ever seen this, and what did you make of it?
No, I didn't even know that this existed, to be honest with you, until we brought it up. And I thought, it was a fun time. Like you said, they kind of get going, and then they just don't slow down the entire time. Just kind of keep the pace. AJ, just so good already, like you said, in 2003. And, Raven gets involved for the finish, kind of push things forward, and we get a top rope Styles clash. Couldn't have asked for more, really.
AJ Styles bumping is just how he can still have matches in 2025, going into 2026, is bonkers to me. Like, it's just the way he hurls himself. It's unbelievable. It's historic, to be honest with you. And he's already on display here. At one point, he takes a slingshot like no one's ever taken a slingshot. I mean, just already precocious, superb pro wrestler. Oracle, had you seen this before?
I think I had seen this before many years ago. I'm not sure this is a pay-per-view that my uncle ordered or not, but I think I'd seen it when I was going back to watch a TNA of AJ about a decade ago.
Yes.
It's just a great balls-to-the-wall sprint. AJ does a dive to the floor right out of the gate. It's always fun to hear Mike Tenay and Don West on commentary. The crowd's super hot for Sandman. It's just a wild 7 minutes where they just go full on. And it's super fun to watch. Of course, Hack takes the fucking Styles clash from the top rope, which is horrifying.
Yeah, right on his knees too, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean,
Right on his knees.
Like of all people. But once again, as Alex mentioned, Sandman was a legendary bumper. So huge credit to him for that. But yeah, this match is a ton of fun. You wouldn't think it, but like 7 minutes, it's just a hell of a time.
It is indeed. You already see kind of the versatility of styles here. Playing ball with Sandman and doing his match, but not so much so that it kind of undercuts the obvious styles clash, pun intended, right? The contrast in style. I did love him like mat wrestling early and Hack like going hold for hold with Uncle Alan. This is quite a piece of business, Alex. When we were talking about this, you didn't seem super familiar with this, which surprised me. It seemed like it was right up your alley. So what did you make of it?
It certainly is now, having watched it. It's exactly what we were just talking about a few minutes ago. Though you can tell me anything happened in 2002 to 2004 TNA, and I'll just be like, yeah, probably. So yeah, you were pretty confident of this pick. I remember you're like, yeah, that match is great, and so I was fired up, and like you said, just from the jump, AJ. His interviews have come a long way, but he already just has it like here, like the walk and, everything that we would now know. He's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And of course, obligatory mention of the I Am entrance theme for AJ Styles. Classic. I forgot though, the cage dancers. That was not good. What is it? Raw Underground? Yeah, my first note just for the dive says hell yeah, and then yeah, Joe, the chain wrestling. Hack does a gator roll. He grabs an arm and does a roll, and I was laughing my ass off. Kind of a throwback to Barely Legal. AJ gets the trash can out from under the ring and throws it, and it lands on Hack's head. Hack throws at one point in this match just a beautiful working punch. Grabs AJ by the head, hits him, and he does the Pat Patterson special where you shake your hand out afterwards after hitting the guy. He actually dusts one of those off too in the Carlito match. But AJ takes a pretty nasty splash to the table. Again, it's just very simple, but the Styles Clash counter with the kendo stick to the head, and then that slingshot where AJ just throws himself head first into the chair in the corner. And then I just have in all caps, oh my God, at the finish. I think I came back right as Oracle was talking about it. Where Hack just on his knees directly, and like in a way too where he lands right on top and you can see it like jammed into his hip, and he's just laying there like
he's holding his knee immediately. It's so
yeah,
funny,
it's so wonky, so AJ has to pin him in a very strange way. But man, this is awesome. This is one of those. This is like what this what our gimmick, this platform, like the whole idea of Grin Grappler is to watch matches like this, and a goddamn great time.
Yeah, we're here to talk about the Sandman, but it has to be said, in terms of what I want from a pro wrestler's match catalog, and I hate that phrase at this point, but just for the sake of conversation, match catalog. Yes, you want great matches, you want classics, but you also want some weirdness, and you want some variety, and you want some novelty. AJ Styles is like, in terms of modern guys, he has got a historic offering in that regard, right? Because he was in TNA long enough, he did a bunch of bullshit. He did a bunch of weird stuff. But he also has the kind of traditional classics and epics.
He teamed with D'Lo Brown for 6 months,
Yeah.
whatever it was, yeah.
I mean, think about it, just last week, we were talking about his stadium match with John Cena.
Yeah.
Matt brings home the chat, the Frank Trigg match. Match is generous, but the Frank Trigg ordeal.
Yeah.
Honestly, in terms of modern guys, he may be like undefeated in terms of the perfect match catalog. All the weird shit, the great shit, everything.
Him and Tomko were a good tag team. They had like good matches, like, and they worked really well as a team. Yeah, he's, it's all over the place because just like you think of his TNA classics, he does like a 30-minute fucking just textbook match with Christopher Daniels, and then he has the Abyss matches where it's just like chaos and shit. Yeah, it's
he has a match with MMA Gloves Dreamer.
Oh well,
Claire Lynch.
I gotta see
works. Yeah. I don't think you do, but nonetheless, as we mentioned, Rise and Fall of ECW would change everything, and that would lead us down all sorts of paths. We'll get into like One Night Stand, but he also coming out that does like 0-1 dates. Have you ever seen this stuff? He does like Masato Tanaka and That's fucking weird, dude. Vintage Bro found it recently and posted it, and it was like, what the fuck is this? 05 Sandman in Japan? Like, yeah, that's wild. But before we get to any of that, any matches you want to call out from this kind of middle ground? I guess 01 through 05.
I mean, I'm sure you'll find some fun. He wrestled Raven in TNA. I've seen before where he gets like the finish of the match is they're up on the balcony there at the fairgrounds, and Sandman gets a fire extinguisher like right in the face, like not a pro wrestling one either. So he's just like all fucked up, and he gets thrown off this balcony, and he's so like shoot blinded by it that he doesn't even get to like see where he's going. So he does almost one of those complete 360 bumps forward off of it and like lands on these tables, and it looks nasty.
Yeah, that was the week after, by the way.
Was it?
This show, this is how nuts this program was. They do that match. They do a Raven promo. They then do, they get set up for the Dusty Vader main event. And in between, they throw up a match graphic of Raven versus Sandman.
God bless.
And they were using the moving match graphic thing? TNA were using those in 03. They were locked in and ready to go, brother. So you get an incredible hack visual coming out of that. Anything else, Oracle, comes to mind before we move to the WWE somehow, inexplicably?
I'm not sure. I've seen the TNA stuff before, but other than that, I don't really know if I'm terribly familiar with anything else.
Bobby, do you have any advice for our beloved grinners, new and old, here at this holiday occasion? What they could do to show us they're enjoying the video, mate?
Yeah, you go ahead and smash that like button the second time, so you're going to have to do it at least one more time, but go ahead and do it.
That was a very cheery incarnation of the smashing of the like button, I gotta say. Excellent work.
Okay, right. I just do want to put it out there. It's on the TNA YouTube page. Punk and Sandman did do the dance in TNA.
Oh, baby. Rise and Fall VCW. Transformative piece of business. Something I think we'll probably discuss one day in a different setting and a different format where we can truly talk about how pivotal that was for WWE's approach to their library, the popularity of ECW obviously itself, but also just from a physical media point of view, it changed the game. In a kind of bullet points fashion, Alex, someone wants to say, how do you mean? As someone that's just used to there being wrestling documentaries made by WWE every other week. How would you capture that kind of shift?
Yeah, it was like a full use of their video library that they owned, and I mean, it's a pro wrestling documentary, so there's still stuff in it that's bullshit, but it was a pretty gritty, and they talk about mass transit, and like they talk about it just was a documentary presentation that we hadn't seen before, and they talk a lot about people that and complementary ways that had no real history in the WWE or anything like that. And then the main thing is how much it sold, which I think at that point it sold more than any non-WrestleMania release the company had ever done, which obviously blew away expectations. And it's so funny because ECW had been out of business not even 5 years, but it ignited this nostalgia for the company, and that was always there. To be fair, after ECW passed, there was still always the ECW chants and whatnot. But I think just everyone involved in it came out, or even not involved, because Sandman's not interviewed for it, but they talk about him extensively in that thing, and it just raised the stock of everybody that they discussed in that. And 6 months later, there's a reunion show, and your point is valid too, of just like the documentary presentation, physical media, like the blessed era that followed with the releases they did. Because if that hadn't done well, like think of all those long form docs they did on like Dusty Rhodes and Jake Roberts, and that wouldn't have happened.
I think once we get rolling with our Criterion project, you and I think there should be we'll try and figure out some way of celebrating that particular documentary, I think, because that is significant. I actually rewatched it recently. Significant, and it leads to One Night Stand, which is a big night for the Sandman. If we hadn't discussed it so often on this platform, we probably would have done the main event of that show, which as I say a million times, I've already said on this show, hilariously on a show that's generally widely accepted as one of the great wrestling shows ever. I think the main event is underrated as a main event. It absolutely tears the house down. It's awesome. Sandman is obviously a big part of that. His entrance steals the show.
He takes an incredible unprotected chair shot to the head in that match.
Yes, yeah, and he dishes out some all-time Kane shots too, some all-timers. One to the back of the head, I think, to Bubba, I believe. It's just an unbelievable spectacle. And of course, that would lead to, again, I mentioned 0-1, and he kind of floats around, and ECW has more popularity. And then in 2006, it all begins again. As they go back to Hammerstein Ballroom for the second one-night stand, and they launch ECW on Cypher. What does Hack do at the second one-night stand? Does he just do an angle?
He comes out and he attacks Eugene. Like, that's, yeah.
Sign of things to come. Trouble in paradise.
The biggest, the consequence was they debut his new theme, and people realize he's not going to have Enter Sandman anymore.
Yeah, which, wasn't there lore about, like, Hack actively got them close to the line to actually have the music, and they just still avoided the opportunity. I mean, that was a big blow. Let's be real, it was a big blow. But One Night Stand 2006, which I know is Timothy Chalamet's favorite wrestling show ever, whatever that's worth. I think is not nearly as fun as One Night Stand 05, but it is a great show, and the main event's great, right?
Yeah.
And then he we get into the Sci-Fi run, and Oracle, we have talked about ECW and Sci-Fi. It was called anything else would have a very different memory because it was a good wrestling show eventually.
Yes.
But Hack is there before the eventually. He is there when it's just attempting to be ECW, and the results are mixed, fair to say.
Yeah, so essentially, of course, he has the Eugene segment of One Night Stand 2, and then on the opening episode of WWE ECW, he beats up a zombie with a kendo stick, which infuriated many of the smart audience online and whatnot. That was a often discussed debacle.
Yeah.
That from that debut episode.
Who was the fat guy in the G-string they had him like dancing with?
Big Dick Johnson. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the guy was a writer or something. Yeah, and he just had.
He was. Yeah. He was. Wasn't he involved in Lucha Underground later? Wasn't it that dude?
I hope so.
Yeah. Isn't it Chris DeJoseph, or am I imagining?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
But Hack doesn't do anything for like the entire time he's there. He just sort of exists on ECW on Sci-Fi and just comes out and canes people and has the occasional match and he eventually gets involved in the ECW Originals versus New Breed program, which is of course at WrestleMania. Yeah. There's a great moment during the Royal Rumble 2007 where he's in the match and ECW is in the match, and JBL is like burying ECW and is very mad that the ECW guys are in the Rumble. And it's like, because I think Kane or somebody chokeslammed Sabu through a table, and then like Sandman comes into the crowd and comes in with his cane and gets like tossed out, and like JBL is like just eviscerating Hack and like telling him, "Look at that, you want to come at." Like you're doing the whole like.
Dude, how did we not get? We got the Blue Meanie theme. We got Stevie Richards. How the fuck did we not get Sandman JBL coming out One Night Stand 05? What were they thinking, dude?
I think if I remember correctly, too, Oracle, like Sandman does like one of those incredible hack bumps to get eliminated. Like he just throws himself over the top rope.
So the WrestleMania matches, whatever. The rematch on TV we watched recently, Oracle, is awesome, but we can't gloss over it. He wrestled at WrestleMania. I mean, this is significant. We have to. It happened. I'm gonna get the photo here. Alex, do you have any memories as a fan of that being a happening, or was it just like, yeah, I guess, man, things are really weird right now. I don't know.
I specifically remember I was so like whatever and disenfranchised with the disenchanted, excuse me, with the idea of the ECW revival. But I do remember after the match, when the four of them stand in the middle of the ring and all do their signature poses, I'm literally getting chills right now thinking about it. I'm like, holy shit, those four guys just won a match at WrestleMania. And obviously Sandman being the strangest of all of them.
I'm going to have to get this framed, boys.
Yo,
Like, this is just, I mean, this is magic. Look at this image. Wow. Incredible stuff. And then
How did he last in the WWF system for over a year, dude?
and then
2 years, dude. He was there for 2.
he gets moved to Raw, and when he told this story, it was so funny, dude. Like, Mark Carano called him and said, "You've been drafted to Raw," and he was what? He didn't know they did a draft. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? And Carano had to explain to him, he's like, "I don't want to go to Raw. I have no friends on Raw." And he's like, "Well, you've been drafted." And wasn't there a law that like Vince was all in on the gimmick for a minute there? Like, he thought it was just so fucking great. Bob, am I making this up? Or is
I
this...
believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And it did make pay-per-view. The pay-per-view we've covered before, right? I think because this was the Lashley Cena show,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yep.
July 22nd, 2007, the Great American Bash. Carlito and the Sandman in a Singapore cane on a pole match. This match had a quarter star from Dave and a 1 on cage match. I could not wait to add it to the line. I was so excited. It was a pay-per-view match, and all I could think was, what happened? Why was this match so, reviled? And nothing could have prepared me for what the answer was, which is that they just don't use the cane. This match, I swear to God, the boys can vouch, opens with a collar and elbow, and they legitimately just do a wrestling match for like almost the entire runtime. They tease the cane, they don't give it to the people, they go home. The joy of this brought me was immense. I have no idea why they did this, or what this was trying to achieve, but they did it. And
it had to be a rib too. Did you see how high the cane was?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
dude, that was
had to be a rib.
dangerous, man.
Yeah.
He had to do the like Sting thing where he had to like launch himself up the deal, right? It was crazy. God, this was funny. There's a lot to talk about here. Bobby, do you have memories of this by any chance?
I do. I remember the Carlito and Sandman feud. It was fun. I was a fan of Sandman, but yeah, I mean, it was clear that there just wasn't much going on. As far as this match, yeah, they start with collar and elbow. They trade holds for a little bit, which is strange. Neither are really interested in going to the cane, probably because it's about 15 feet above the top turnbuckle. And then, yeah, Carlito finally brings it down and then goes to use it. The match isn't over. You would think it would be over just by him getting it, but no, you get to use it. And then he tries to use it, isn't able to. And then Sandman tries to use it. Carlito ducks and hits the backstabber and then gets the pin and leaves the ring.
The one thing that gets reaction is him getting the cane too. It's the one thing that people respond to. It's all they wanted. Meanwhile, the lads are doing hammer locks and they build to like Carlito's drop kick, which does look very pretty. But God, man, the thing is, this is about the Sandman, but wrestlers like Carlito are like, they're never going to be more wrestlers like him. Just could not give less of a fuck, could he, about being in this spot? Just who could possibly care? It's fake. Who cares? A Singapore cane on a pole match. I don't give a shit.
This was also too by the time Carlito realized that there was nothing for him there. So
yeah, remarkable.
He was
remarkable.
a very funny, apathetic wrestler. Like when he didn't, it was just you could tell when he was really checked out, and it was funny to watch. Essentially, it.
Yes, there was a story about him so desperate to get fired that when Johnny Ace would walk past, he would like rattle his pills in front of Johnny Ace. And
incredible.
Just daring them, please God, will you release me? I'll give anything. What a character. He worked for the WWE, I believe, this year, maybe last year. No, this year. It was this year he worked for the WWE. God bless him. He got a Legends figure too. Anyway. Oracle, another classic added to the books, mate. This was magic.
Yeah. The highlight is when Carlito spits the apple before the bell.
Yes.
And the funny thing is, is the match bad? Yeah, but it's like they don't even do anything.
No, they don't. It's like a house show match with a pole.
they don't even do anything. They just sort of fart around for 5 minutes, and then Hack gets the cane, and then he just gets fucking backstabbed and pinned. He didn't need to fucking use it. That had to have been like a bit, right? Like that.
Yeah,
that was a bit.
Yeah. He's so lean here, Hack.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
His face when Carlito enters is unbelievably funny. Superb.
Did we ever discover what his final match was on?
It's a good question.
On the Fed.
It's an excellent question. Didn't he get in trouble too to get released? Or am I misremembering? I want to say he got in trouble.
Let me see, because I want to say he tagged with Duggan because Carlito and Regal team up.
Dugan, yeah.
Dugan? Yeah.
clip where he was talking about it. I'm looking here. His last match was a DQ win over Santino Marella on Raw.
God
What's the
fucking
date?
bless.
It was September 10th, 2007. I think he got in trouble, dude.
Wasn't there like a wedding or some company event around that time that some people, like other than Hack, also got like in deep shit?
I
for
want to
getting...
say,
yeah.
I forget. I'm gonna look into it in a second.
Was that the thing where Michael Hayes almost pissed on Linda McMahon on accident?
I don't know. Which time?
That's Stephanie and Triple H's wedding, I believe.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's a different. Depends on which occasion you're talking about. Carlito and Hack officially now holds the bronze medal for lowest rated match according to Cage Match covered on Grin Grappler. The 1 seed Bill Goldberg and Bray Wyatt. 2 seed Bill and the Undertaker.
Come on.
In at 3 here, Hack and Carly doing the damn thing. What do you guys think is actually the worst match on Grin Grappler? It ain't this. I know that. There's no way it's this. No chance.
No.
I'm trying. Is there any ones that we actually
I
had
legitimately think Bill Taker's like 4 1/4. So
yeah, that match is awesome.
And it's also too memorable to be the worst too. Like, there's probably something we're not even thinking of, right? I'm not sure. There was the match we did on the Electra episode that has the Iconics in it, which the first 10 minutes of, I remember we were texting about like, oh my god, it's dead silent, and then it gets to the end of it's the Kabuki stuff, which is good.
Yeah, there's that part in there. That's the one where I formulate my theory that Kyrie just intentionally tanks things sometimes because there's a really weird part in that match. Yeah.
Tremendous stuff. Okay, so while we get into this here, Alex, anything to add when it comes to this incredible Singapore Kane on a pole match, mate?
I do need to say the Sandman podcast account just responded. Yes. I guess they're listening. So if shit. Cool. Thank you. Welcome.
I love that pod, dude. That's a great pod.
That with Tony Storm. Did I see that movie? She's just like, probably not. Which, by the way, how cool were those pictures from WrestleCon where Tony Storm clearly was like fucking marking out to meet the Sandman? That's so cool. So they said Hack always said that he and Carlito went out and did nothing because they potentially they could have been programmed together for a while, and they didn't want to give anything away early on in the program. I fucking love it.
This changes everything. What did they have up their sleeve now? I must know. What?
They were getting to 3 stages of hell at Armageddon that year, man.
That is superb. That's made my day. Carry on.
That's awesome. You guys covered everything. The collar and elbow that started, I literally pumped my fist. I was like, let's fucking go. The only thing, we get Hack's wonderful working punch in this as well. The grappling is very funny. And then also, he had to be like trying to pop somebody because Jim Ross at one point says that he refers to the Sandman's career as illustrious. He said, and in the illustrious career of the Sandman. And like, I just know, like, backstage, you realize, ha, 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 ha. He was like, Jim Ross was saying that to pop somebody, dude. It was really funny.
God. And we shouldn't, we have to know, it's been mentioned by a couple people, the Vince moment, right? Where, isn't the story that Sandman was concussed, Bobby? Where he just stands out there for...
Yeah, just stays in the ring too long, thinks he's going to be Vince's son, and they have to just kind of whisk him out of there.
It's still popping me the thought of him like being informed he was moved to Raw like it's real, You've been drafted to Monday Night Raw. Prepare your stuff.
There was a picture. You remember those like I don't know if they still do them anymore, but they used to do like the WrestleMania photo diaries, like these black and white pictures of the behind the scenes stuff. I always remember there was a picture of him like the day of the show at 23, and he is just like dead hungover, like hunched over a fucking golf cart or some shit in the back. I remember Madman Pondo at the Gathering of the Juggalos in like 06 or 07 was referring to the fact that Sandman got a contract with the WWF as proof that their drug policy's out the window.
Oh, man. Remarkable. We do have the Dugan incident, which recently went viral.
Dugan?
As they formed an all-star tag team, the likes of which we've never seen again. That was a terrific towel. On a pod that had a couple terrific towels. I think the Raven incident stole the show, but that was a worthy 2 seed.
Did you see Dreamer's portion of that? He did have the really good line of, he said, the WWE does not want Matt Cardona so much that they request Moose instead. I thought that was fantastic.
Dreamer has some good stuff in that setting. He's quite good on that. It was a good deal. Seemed like a fun show. So I think that brings an end to our WWE discussion. Does it not? Is there anything else we'd like to add in that regard? He's on the video game, right? 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
08 is that, Bobby? Someone's in the chat.
08, yeah. We are 08.
He got a decent amount of figures during the Ruthless Aggression Jax era.
Jax were incredible. The amount of people they made, like, remarkable.
Dude, I think we've talked about it. I'll spend a half hour browsing the Classic Superstars line and get really itchy, and I'm like, no, can't do it. I'm gonna fall down a financial pit if I do it. Yeah. But he had like WWF merch. He had a pretty cool T-shirt actually. That one with the black and white silhouette of him on the front, and yeah, it's one of those things. We all know it happened, and we all like lived through it. But just the idea that Hack had like a legitimate WWE run, like where he was making towns and shit, is just very tickling to me.
I just looked. So there was the ECW series. He, of course, was in ECW Series 1 with that aforementioned shirt. He was in a Ruthless Aggression, the exact same look. And he also got a, quote, deluxe aggression, in which he came with a sledgehammer of some sort. Sandman Sledgehammer, trademark. So
Classic Jax.
Yep, classic stuff there. And he had a hell of a run. Why was he not... He didn't do anything with the great EV 2.0 run, did he? Am I imagining this?
He was there.
He was? Oh,
dude, have you never...
apologies.
Okay, I gotta find this
I watched
picture.
the show, but I don't remember.
There's an insane picture from that where it's fucking Terry and Sandman, and it just looks so strange.
Is he the end of the show? Does he come out?
Brother. Yeah, let me send this to you real quick. I'm going to post this in the chat, Joe.
That's right. Hogan, of course. How could I forget that? Yes.
Hang on
a second here.
Where Hogan says, he tells the fans, he's like, listen, I get this whole EV2 thing. And, which means, of course, he doesn't get it at all. But I would also like to call out that
Right, while I do this, Alex, go. What's you
Is
going to
that
say?
Foley in the background, too?
I'm going to put this on the screen. What was you saying, Alex?
Oh, just I think I've told this tale before. I probably told him the Sabu one, but I went to 2 WWE ECW house shows during that run, and the second one in Tyler, Texas, the main event of which Vault, if you're listening, let's just drop this any day. It was Test, Big Show, and Bob Holly against the Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, and Sabu.
Remarkable. Just absolutely.
That's a Coliseum home video match if I've ever heard of one,
Absolutely remarkable stuff. Here it is, folks.
Brother.
That is just
Who is that behind on the left there? Is that Jerry Lynn? Who is that?
I think
Looks like it.
looks like Jerry, yeah. Looks like Jerry.
Is
Let
that
me try and look. So I'm
Bill
trying.
Dundee?
I guess he came out at the end to party. I remember.
He
This. I watched
he
the
had a
show
run
few
in.
months ago.
Well, I thought he like appeared and like caned somebody on that, but
That would make sense.
that picture's so weird, dude.
Someone in the chat may be able to help us, but nonetheless, what else did he do in this time between our last two matches? Like, what was his other happenings? Like, I'm seeing he did some of the Extreme Rising stuff with Shane Douglas, your boy Alex. I think he just kind of did like he just made towns, right? Just took some
the bookings, WrestleCon, shit like that.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that we're mistaken out because I do know
By that
after what
time
we're
he
about
was-
to discuss.
By the time he left the Fed, he was almost 45. He was 44, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Outstanding.
Even funnier, yeah.
So he reemerges for our final match, and he actually does some stuff after this too. Because after this, he does MLW, where he works with like Pillman Jr. and Davey Boy, teaming with Tommy Dreamer, which is. I was tempted by. I felt if I suggested a Pillman Jr. match, it would have gone very poorly for everyone.
Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure, and I should have checked this, so I apologize. So I'm going to check him out. I think he wrestles Killer Cross, dude. I think he wrestles him in TNA, I think. Okay, the week after he got his contract on screen for EV2, he no-showed the Impact tape and got fired. Okay, that's true.
Beast.
Okay. Nonetheless, that is not our focus here. Our focus is, of course it is, we all remember this, the Ring of Honor television affair from November 3rd, 2018, taped on October 14th, Silas Young and the Sandman. the 2300 arena is a pick your punishment deal, in which Bully Ray picks a man and Flip Gordon picks an opponent, and whoever wins, they get to pick the punishment. Alex, you were saying?
Fucking Bully Ray with Flip Gordon was worse than Jim Barnett and Tommy Rich, dude. Like, he just loved Flip Gordon and wanted him everywhere all the time. That Supercard of Honor 12 show in New Orleans, which was the biggest show Ring of Honor ever did, there were, I think, 4 Flip Gordon segments. Like, he had matches, and then he kept coming out to do shit. I mean, in addition to just being an idiot, his wrestling was not for me. I'll say that. So I didn't enjoy it.
They tease Colt Cabana here, which the ECW arena is quite excited about.
That's why Bobby logged off.
Yep, and we get an extensive Bully Ray promo. I was thinking, I'm really happy the guys are watching this.
I didn't watch that part.
Well, I'll consider that when I do payouts this month, Oracle. Please study your homework accordingly.
I got the commercial of how to overcome meth addiction first, and then,
they tease Cabana. Instead, of course, it is the Sandman. And listen, this may sound like a sad scene. Brother, this place is so excited to see the Sandman. They're so excited to chant EC Dub. They chant "This is awesome" at the opening bell. I thought, considering what this is, and this is 2018 Ring of Honor, which is the equivalent of wrestling in the back garden with curtains closed, you know. I thought this was remarkably dignified, to be honest with you. I thought Hack did a remarkably, this was a pretty admirable shift he put in here. I mean, he took some crazy bumps. He threw a couple of those working punches where he sells the hand. This had some dignity.
He dusted off the senton onto the ladder, which is always a scary one. Yeah.
He did indeed. Bobby, I know you love 2018 Ring of Honor, and anything Barbara Ray has got your fingerprints all over it. Did this deliver for you, mate?
It did, because the thing is, you kind of expect Sandman to just kind of show up and do his usual stuff, and he does that, but he does a little bit more than that too. He actually looks pretty good in there. I like the concept too quite a bit. I wish more companies would do that. Let's see, what else do I have here? People want to Colt Cabana to face Silas Young. Bully assumes the Colt is the pick and starts running him down, which get his ass. But yeah, I mean, all the people are there to see is just him use the kendo stick and throw him around and all that, and he does more than that, and it's really cool. And this did a lot, and I'm glad that kind of he got this, and he's still able to do these sorts of fun one-off spots. I think this year even did one too. So
yeah, he still has experiences. Yeah,
he did a run-in the Janela Sabu match, right?
I believe so. Yeah. When he got a ladder out, I was like, oh my god. Where are we going to? This is unfortunate. I thought it was going to be nothing, and it is not. They go for it, Oracle. Did this surprise you?
I'd never seen this. I did not expect to see, Hack do this shit in 2018, but he pretty much looked like he did in 1998 here.
He was beast.
He's hyped.
Did his thing, did the senton, which was huge pop, and then he also took the upside down buckle bump into the ladder, which was nuts. Just a really, really fun performance here. Let Silas Young pin him, and then sort of did a kick out after the 3, kind of.
Yep,
afterwards, with the beast. This was very fun.
It was actually used as, and I'm sure you guys remember this because I know you followed it closely, the Bully flip thing. They actually do the Kane segment after this, where he has to take the 10 shots with the Kane, and Sandman's there at ringside encouraging Flip. Great stuff. We all remember, we all loved and cherished. Continue to talk about. Alex, what did you make of this, mate?
I don't know if this was intentional, but it was artistically a good choice because we got to see Sandman back in the ECW arena, and it does not look like what it did in 1998 when he wrestled Sabu. This is a good time. Like I said, it's one of those things where I think the reaction got Hack really hyped because he clearly gets the blood pumping there pretty quick, and it's fun. It's an easy TV match, and it shows that if he wants to, he can still go out there and do the shit people loved him for. And he suplexes the ladder onto Silas Young. Big pop there. And may I just say, God bless Ian Riccaboni on commentary, who immediately explains in kayfabe why the ladder's under the ring,
Yep.
how they use it to put the lighting truss up and stuff. Yeah, it's this is fun. It's the Ring of Honor at that time. There are some little nuggets of fun in there. I think it understandably so has kind of a muddied reputation, but this is a good time, man. This is when you told me this, it was like, what the fuck? So yeah, it was happy to watch it. Good time.
Yeah, as you said, the atmosphere is a big part of it, and the fact he clearly takes it seriously and tries really hard and looks pretty good out there. And like, to be completely frank, all these years later, and this is still a long time, since 7 years ago, but it's a long time after 2005. ECW nostalgia at times can be a little bit, tragic's too strong. But you get my point, right? You kind of roll your eyes. I thought this had like actual soul and spirit to it because it felt like it actually mattered to the people involved. There is a tragic reminder of where we're at in time, though, when Hack is like standing behind fans 2 inches away from him, and they're like this, trying to film a selfie video, and it's like, man, it's a different time.
Yeah,
things have changed, folks.
That Sabu match, we're a long ways away from Sabu. At the very beginning, that he like lunges at Hat Guy. It's a different ECW arena at this point. I do just a closing point on this because this applies to every match we covered. As a thrifty boy from time to time myself, I think Sandman only ever wrestled in just gimmick shirts that he like took. Like he never was one of those guys. He wasn't a Johnny Gargano who like commissioned this expensive X-Men gear or something. He was just always fucking, yo, give me a large, cut the sleeves off of it, So God bless him.
You know what goes understated about this era? We all forget this happened. Bubba got fat again at this time. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He looked like Bubba again rather than Alex Jones. Did you notice that here? I was like, it's Bubba, because I have been working on the theory that Bubba is a clone now. Not the same bloke. It's actually a different person built to do Busted Open Radio. But this was definitely Bubba Ray Dudley. This was the original, I think.
This is Bubba. Now, the consistency of his skin now is very troubling. It's very
alarming.
Problematic. Yeah,
it's alarming. Yeah.
He looks like a rotisserie chicken with a fucking beard. Yeah.
So, Grin Grappler legend, of course. He's part of the archives, folks. He has to get his respect. Well, that brings us to a close in terms of the matches, and it's the best tribute to Hack we can produce that we did that all in under 2 hours, which for us is the equivalent of like, a 90-second wrestling match, really. We're very proud of our efforts.
Kept it tight.
And we're going to conclude with some thoughts on the legacy of the Sandman. And then we'll pick our first Grappler of 2026, boys. Let's do this. Let's close it out. Bobby, anything you'd like to add when it comes to the story of the Sandman, mate? Take it away.
No, I don't think so. I think these 6 matches kind of covered it. Like, he's got the cool entrance like we talked about. He does stuff that you're going to have fun with. The promos are never quite there if you want to watch him cut a promo, but you're going to have a good time if you watch one of his matches. And I'm glad that he has had kind of like I said, kind of reemergence like you talked about. And you talked about the Dark Side of the Ring. That was one that I was also really interested in because I'm like, I've never really heard many bad things about him. And, you watch it and it was good. It was a lovely time. Seems like a great guy. So, I'm I'm glad to see that. He seems to be, I don't know him obviously, but he seems to be in a good place physically and mentally, all things considered. Yeah. So, yeah.
He does seem like a very positive presence, actually. I mean, we mentioned his podcast, which is a hoot. Great time. He's always doing, they did a thing recently, I think it was with Elliot on Twitter. He'd like give him a bracket to work for, and Hack was like battling for a bracket of wrestlers. And he has a great time. He watches the shows, he gives his opinion. It is quite striking, and wrestling. The cycle of wrestling is forever, and you'll hear Hack talking about kind of you can't have this many matches with Juice reviewing an AEW pay-per-view. And to be clear, I agree with him, but it's just funny. That's the way wrestling is. Right? Hack's at that point now where he sees it that way. That's fun, and it is nice to do the show at a time where it feels like he is at a real upswing in terms of the way people perceive him and his reputation. He is incredibly, really, an official WWE legend now. Make of that what you will. Actually, I think they call them nostalgia contracts now, Bobby, don't they? But either way, let's be honest, they're eventually going to go back to Philly and put him in the Hall of Fame. I mean, come on, it's inevitable. It's the least they could do. He has 2 elite figures. He's in the video game again. he still is a guy people remember vividly. He's a guy that we can post on Twitter. We're doing a Grin Grappler Sandman, and people go, yes, I love the Sandman. I think all of that speaks to an insane kind of overachiever, right? A really fun story and a guy people like talking about and like remembering. Oracle, anything to add on the legacy of the Sandman?
No, he's just a guy who there was something authentic about him, I think, in the sense that, like, it sounds odd, but he's kind of a guy you would see at, like, at some sort of gathering or party, and you're like, who's this guy? And he ends up being like
He's
really like fun to be around and like entertaining, and he's like, got a beer and he's playing pool with you or something. But like he's just always somebody who's going to be like, he's going to draw you in. Like when I see a Sandman match, I'm like, that's interesting. I kind of want to watch that. And my expectations are never that it's going to be a good bell-to-bell match, but that's not the expectation you want. That's not what you want out of the Sandman. You want him to go out there and do his inner Sandman entrance and drink his beer and hit somebody with the cane and come out in the Zubaz pants, whatever the fuck. And, that's just, there's nobody like him in wrestling. He stood out for that and made himself memorable and had a very memorable career and is still entertaining. Even to the level of what our buddy Alex experienced over Mania weekend, just him wandering around and asking if people want an autograph, just seemingly a charming guy and a fun wrestler to revisit. One of the more entertaining wrestlers there ever was, truly.
An absolute hoot, Alex. Anything you want to add, mate?
Couldn't find a way to shoehorn this in at any point, but for those interested in Sandman lore, there was an ECW house show where he got naked in the ring due to being gimmicked up and whatnot, and so there's a really good story about that. I remember like the legend for a little while when the internet was still pretty young was that Heyman had to destroy all the footage so they couldn't get sued for it or something. But of course, you can find. I posted a picture of. I don't know if he got completely like stark naked. I think what happened was he was like Winnie the Pooh in it, like he was naked but wearing a t-shirt, and so. But there's like the thing of him jumping rope in the ring with Raven and Tommy at that show. It's good stuff. And then also. I don't know if JJ's watching this, but he and I always talk about it. For those who are Futurama fans, there's an episode where Bender gets turned into a human and looks just like the Sandman. And I refuse to believe that's a complete coincidence, because for fans of the show, or if you're not a fan of the show, the Bender character is like, he loves drinking and having a good time and eating. And like he's wearing like jeans and a t-shirt and looks just like it. So check that out if so inclined. But as far as the Sandman goes, he's someone to me I have a lot of like sentimentality towards, because I obviously told that story. I always remember the hack elbow drop that me and my roommate in college used to do. But we had a buddy in college that he liked to party quite a bit, and when he called you up, or it was going to be a night, and he kind of had a like that type of voice. And so in like my circle of friends, whenever we did our impression of him, it was basically just doing an impression of the Sandman, like, oh man, here comes Hack, that type of thing. And so a lot of like personal anecdotes that way of it. But I think the closing point of the Sandman is we've had a really good time here. I don't think anyone would ever accuse him of being one of the greatest wrestlers ever. And I think honestly, like in a singular way, he reached the highest level of success with probably the most limited toolbox. And he's not someone who's divisive, because like the four of us right now could come up with wrestlers that reached high levels that we think suck. You know what I mean? But Sandman, everyone knew what his skill set was. And he wrestled he won a match at WrestleMania. And everyone just like when they when they hear about the Sandman, almost 10 times out of 10, people just start smiling and laughing and be like, "Oh man." There's a few times that I don't know if I would have laughed or smiled if I was working him, depending on his acumen that night. But in it's just kind of a strange way, and I feel like I've been able to better mold my thesis about him as we've been doing this. A kind of almost comedically so symbol of just positivity in wrestling. Everyone always, which again, he's a guy that be pounding beers backstage before his match and stuff, but everyone seems to pretty much have good memories of the Sandman. And I'm not going to go so far to say something like he's underrated as a worker, but I think one of the things we did see here, with these matches, is he did bring a certain presentation or certain just kind of physicality to his matches that is really different than almost anyone ever. And he does have a few good matches in his catalog there, but just an interesting cat and someone who it's you almost feel privileged to have seen their run, because they're just so entertaining and so unconventional in the industry, and especially the time he came up in, that he succeeded to the level he did. It's a very unique story. It's the Sandman.
It certainly is, and to your point, so many wrestlers, when we do these Grin Grapplers, we say something like, a complicated legacy or conflicting views, and you're right. Ironically, other than Tajiri, this may be the most universally beloved wrestler we've covered all year on this very program. So
yeah,
I think this speaks to something. Before we look ahead, which we will, Bobby, final chance to tell the pit what they can do if they haven't already, mate.
Yeah, you go ahead and smash that like button. This is the third time, so if you've been with us since the beginning, you can do it again. Odd numbers, things of that nature.
I like this point. It's a great point. The Austin, the influence, the direct kind of parallels there from the Sandman to Stone Cold is a natural point that I co-sign completely. The Sandman story in terms of Grin Grappler isn't done yet. We are going to record a couple Grin-alongs tonight. We're going to post for Gold members. There should be a link below. If you sign up at $1.99, you get access to both of those once it's time, as well as a plethora of other things. Today I did a deep dive into, I called the episode of Holbert House Show Pool Problems today. So lots going on, and you can see a lot of that stuff over on Gold. You can also see, Alex, I uploaded the outtakes from our top 10 recording,
nice,
including Buster bursting out laughing at the SummerSlam 2025 thing. So yeah, that's coming up. And you know what? Those things are, they're Christmas treats for our grinners. Here's one we could do here as a little treat live, Alex. If you could, our friend Brother Klein, he says, what would a promo by Kevin Von Erich for his match with the Sandman sound like? It's a great question.
Oh, I'm trying to think of what was the line he had about the Von Erichs, or excuse me, the Freebirds. This is not about Philadelphia and Texas. This is about decency and filth. Something like that, or. Sandman, you got that Singapore cane, but I'm bringing the Iron Claw to the table. All right, my daddy trained me real well for this match. You will be going down in the sportatorium.
You see, give him a speech impediment there at the end. That was something. It was remarkable. All right, let's look ahead to January, fellas, as we wind down here. Another year of Grin Grappler. We're going to kick it off 2026 with one of the following pro wrestlers. We have 6 options. They cover a wide range of wrestling and reason. Here we go. We have the Animal, Dave Bautista. We have Road Warrior Animal, or more specifically, the Road Warriors. It's an Animal birthday. We would be doing the Road Warriors, a tag team edition. Legion of Doom, of course. We have a wrestler who for about 2 weeks last year became the biggest name in wrestling and then immediately returned to their prior spot. We have R-Truth. We have Mike Awesome. We have someone who came up earlier, a Shane Douglas rival, Tully Blanchard. And we have one of the most reliable TV wrestlers of recent times. We have Sheamus. I want to repeat, we have Batista, the Road Warriors, R-Truth, Mike Awesome, Tully Blanchard, and Sheamus. Bobby, as always, I'll go to you first, mate.
Okay. I mean, immediately Batista jumps off, but it's also like we did a Grin along for the Triple H Hell in a Cell match. Might be a little hard to get to 6 just because he does have kind of a short run, all things considered. Probably not R-Truth just because it's not his fault, but his whole thing has kind of really pissed me off.
Yeah.
Mike Awesome's not a bad one. Road Warriors are not a bad one. We haven't done a tag team in a while, and there's one that I think would lend quite a bit to what we want to do. Who are the other two?
Sheamus and Tully Blanchard.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't really have a problem with either of those two. I just don't want to do Truth or Batista, I don't think.
It's an interesting one. Oracle, where does your mind go on this one, mate?
I think Road Warriors are probably my top pick.
Yeah.
I'm always down for Sheamus. Maybe Tully. I think we could do something interesting with Tully.
Yeah, those were my kind of highlights. I didn't have a strong feeling either. Those are the ones that stood out to me. Alex, where do you stand on this one, mate?
Yeah, from that lineup, Tully or I think the Road Warriors is probably going to be the move. Mike Awesome would be great, but when you said that, I was like, man, Joe's really throwing that out there because I don't know if Joe would want to do 6 Mike Awesome matches.
Oh, I love the business. We've discussed this before. What would be our what was our last tag team outing? I wonder. Did we do one this year?
The Dudleys.
We did the Dudleys. Who did the Dudleys? Yeah.
The duds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tough act for the Road Warriors to follow, bro. You know, Bubba and Devon. You know, I think the Road Warriors may be the play. I think maybe the play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
What do you
that
think,
color
boys?
for me. Yeah, but Road Warriors, I think there's a talk about catalogs. There's some pretty deep cuts we could find.
And they, even though their peak is like, you know, isn't the longest, they have such a long career beyond that. You could act wise, you could easily
And this
formulate
one, I can
something.
get the PG-13 squash in. So
There you go. And now we see the real agenda at play.
Mhm.
Excellent stuff. There you go, folks. Grin Grappler, the Road Warriors, is next up for us. We're going to kick off the year with that. Appreciate everyone that joined us tonight. We're going to be recording some Grin-alongs here later this evening, in a moment even, and then we're also going to record a little holiday message for the upcoming Holiday with the Hoots special. So before we do any of that, Oracle, any plugs, mate?
So we have all sorts of holiday things going on.
We do.
Including, what is it, Christmas, whatever the hell it's called? Christmas with the Good Brothers, isn't that what it is?
Yeah, Holidays with the Hoots, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Holidays with the Hoots, yeah. I don't know, other than these stuff we're gonna tape and put in the can. I don't know what else, what much else is going on.
Hopefully we can get an Oracle cameo a week from tonight on the Christmas party. We're doing confirmed shoots Christmas party. Unconfirmed, if you will.
Oh yeah, that's a week from tonight.
Yeah.
I could probably show up on that.
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
cameo.
Yeah, I'll probably be on unconfirmed then. Otherwise, I think we'll have a pretty loaded January, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
There will be hopefully a calm before the storm, at least for Joe's sake, here in the next week or so.
That's the plan.
For the holidays, Christmas, New Year, before before we get things going. Want everyone to keep this in mind. 1/15/26.
Oh, excellent point. Excellent point. Bobby, any plugs, mate?
No, I'm kind of in the same boat as Oracle. I might be about done for the year at this point. I'll come back for the confirmed shoot Christmas spectacular next week, but beyond that, yeah, I think it's about it. It's a great year of Grin Grappler, great year of late night Grin, and I am also very excited for next year. We have a lot of fun stuff coming.
Yeah. We absolutely do. Our friend Rafa, been a member for 13 months, says, just want to say thank you for this program. My number one company for late night work, for late work nights, I should say, and those where I can't sleep. If there's one thing we're good at, putting a brother to sleep is our
That's right,
fucking
baby.
specialty.
Right.
We appreciate you. This show is, we have now been doing this show for a dangerous amount of time, if we're being honest. We are now, we started in March 2022, I believe. So,
Yeah.
the way I always think of it is when we did this, the first episode, we weren't sure Samoa Joe was going to wrestle again. He's the world champion right now. So, That's the way I always kind of think of it. So thank you very much, Trevor. Appreciate you, mate. Thankful for everyone that watches these shows.
What's been the most watched Grin Grappler?
This year, specifically, I assume you're asking?
Yeah.
I believe it's the same as the most listened to Grin Grappler. I believe. I will check. But I believe it's Shane McMahon. And on that note, I would like to say, on our little holiday message we're going to do for Holidays with the Hoots, I would like us to do a brief kind of look back at our year. So maybe we'll get into that in more detail here shortly. But for the sake of conversation, Alex, I will make sure of that fact. While I do, tell the people about what's coming up on the Contrarians, mate.
We're continuing on our movies discussing, I should say, the topic of immigration in America. Recently did Minari, which was an Academy Award winner from a few years ago. Really good movie with Stephen Wynn. We recently dropped our Blade Runner episode, the original, and then also some discussion on Blade Runner 2049 is coming up, which I had never seen, and I was kind of impressed with that movie, to be honest. And then for holiday's sake, over on our Patreon page, we will have a commentary track for Gremlins 2 dropping on Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas Day, as everyone does, Exorcist 3. You can fire that up because for those who don't know, there's a tie-in to It's a Wonderful Life with Exorcist 3. And so we figured we'd do that for Christmas Day. So in addition to that, The Searchers, the John Wayne classic coming up, 44-Inch Chest, which is a film with Ray Winstone. And what did we do most recently? Official Competition, which was a Spanish comedy from a few years ago with Penelope Cruz and Antonio Banderas. Very, very funny. So a lot going on there. Friday night, I will be on the flagship as for better or worse. We tackle the Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, whatever.
I should know. We can't do that as the flagship. That's going to be a bonus thing. We're doing on Friday. Flagship Thursday. We have some standards.
All right.
We need to be protected by the paywall too. I feel that night. But yes, Friday will be a great time. I think for better or worse.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have fun. Are we gonna get Jackie on there?
I hope so, but Jackie's been very busy as of late, hasn't he? So we'll see. We'll let it play out.
Good
I also have bad news. I have bad news. Shane McMahon is not the most viewed episode of the year.
Was it Lexi?
It was last year, believe it or not. It was now 16 months ago, which is like... I have terrible news. The Rock has beat Shane McMahon on YouTube.
Now,
on Spotify, Shane won. So you can take that, but... yeah. Dwayne The Rock Johnson somehow is... I mean, it's unlikely, really. He's not the most popular wrestler, is he, Dwayne The Rock? Is he even still sort of around, The Rock? Dwayne The Rock Johnson? Is he doing WrestleCon?
Who cares? It doesn't matter.
That's a great point. I didn't consider that. Should have considered that. We leave you with this image, folks. We appreciate you all for another great year of Grin Grappler. Have yourselves Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. If you don't see us again, you know the deal again. We will be checking in on that very holiday special. But coming up this week, tomorrow I have the Whole Bit Hour holiday special. I will also be recording with the Good Brothers and maybe something else, I'm not sure yet. Wednesday, I'm hopefully going to be in Manchester for Dynamite. Thursday, we're going to reveal the LNG 50 live and free on the flagship, 9 Eastern. Friday, we have as follows: the Joe and Monty Show on Wrestle Purist. Full Sail Behind with the great Rob Naylor this Friday. And then in the evening, Alex, myself, maybe friends, watch some Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua for better or worse. Next Monday, Whole Bit House show. Unconfirmed Christmas party. What a schedule. What a time to be a grinner. We hope everyone enjoyed this. Have a great night. Keep grinning. All howl. And enjoy this outro. Goodbye, folks.